This is the ICC Women's T20 World Cup, brought to you by the BBC.
According to the team plans and
Hello and welcome to our coverage of match 14 of this ICC Women's T20 World Cup, live from Dubai today. I'm Nikesh Rugani and we'll be bringing you all the action as Pakistan take on the champions Australia. The news from out in the middle is that Australia have won the toss. They decided to have a bowl first. Remember, very important game this for Pakistan in particular, having won one and lost one of their two group games so far. They're tied on points with New Zealand. They're tied on net run rate with India. We'll get into all the permutations a little bit later on. But first, let me welcome my two colleagues here, Kirsty Gordon of England and Scotland fame, and Nikki Chowdhury. Good evening. Good afternoon, rather.
Afternoon. Good to be back.
Yeah, good to be back.
Big game this, particularly from Pakistan point of view, Kirsty. Beating Sri Lanka at the start of the tournament, that was a little bit of a surprise. Losing to India, but not losing heavily, which I think was the key for them. A lot of criticism about the way India approached that chase and everything, but Pakistan did well not to lose that one too heavily. I mean, realistically, what are we expecting from Pakistan today? We'll just go through some stats before I get your answer on that. Australia have played 13 completed matches against Pakistan in T20Is. They've won them all. They've played them 3 times in T20I World Cups. They've won them all pretty comfortably, an average winning margin of 57 runs. Is it damage limitation for Pakistan, or do they need to think beyond that today?
Yeah, I think they've got to go in there with the mindset that they can win, and they can win any game that's put in front of them. But absolutely, it will be a challenge today. Australia are the #1 team in the world for a reason. They're, such a strong side. I think they've got, they hold the record for 13-game winning streak in women's world T20s. So yeah, the backs are going to be against the wall at times today, but I think, you touched on the India game there briefly, and a lot of the comments that came out of that game were around how India didn't play particularly well, but actually, let's give credit to Pakistan. They bowled really, really well, they fielded well, and they put India under some pressure with potentially a below-par score on the board. So I think if they're going to have a chance today, obviously, they are batting first. They need to try and put something competitive on there and then trust the work of their bowlers.
Nikki, Pakistan men's team is loved and loathed at the same time for being unpredictable. You never quite know which Pakistan is going to turn up. That's always the saying that's used in these big tournaments when it comes to the men's team. With the women's team, it is a little bit more predictable. They've lost 12 matches in 2024, one away from the all-time record of losing T20Is in a single year. And we've got a couple of months left in the year. We've got matches left in this tournament, of course, as well. Look, there wasn't much expected of them coming into this competition. What would success look like, even if they weren't to make the semi-finals, which I don't think we expect them to? They've still got a chance to, of course, but we're not kind of expecting them to make that Final Four. What would success look like for this Pakistan team at this World Cup?
I think for Pakistan, they really want to make sure they can just take games deep. They don't want to be bowled out so early on. Try and bat as many overs as they can. There tends to be a case where sometimes once the top order maybe haven't performed, that we see collapses. We saw it in Bangladesh yesterday as well, as they've started to crumble. And I think for Pakistan, just to have that confidence in themselves, they've tried to show intent, but again, so far in the tournament, low totals of 116, 105, and especially coming up against the reigning champions, Australia, they really need to dig in deep today to at least put themselves in a stronger position.
Well, let's take you through the 11s as well then, because as I said, the toss did take place a short while ago. Australia winning it, deciding to have a bowl first. Alyssa Healy talking about the conditions, it being a fresh pitch and trying to make the most of those conditions before perhaps a little bit dew later on might assist the bowling coming onto the bat. Australia with an opportunity as well, if they can bowl Pakistan out fairly cheaply, to try and knock the runs off pretty quickly. Pakistan will be looking to get off to a good start through their openers. Muniba Ali, who captains today, the wicketkeeper, Sidra Amin, Nida Dar, Sadaf Shamaz, Alia Riaz, Iram Javed, Tuba Hassan, Nashra Sandhu, Sadia Iqbal, Saida Arub Shah and Gamina Sahel. And then as for Australia, just the one change for them. Their side looks like this. Alyssa Healy, captain and keeper at the top. Beth Mooney, Elise Perry, Ash Gardner, Phoebe Litchfield, Talia McGrath, Georgia Wareham, Annabelle Sutherland, Sophie Molyneux, Megan Shute and Talia Vlemnik. So that is the 11 for Australia. I mean, look, on paper, you go through that Australian side, Kirsty, and, you know, we're familiar with a lot of these players. You've played with and against a lot of these girls, obviously in the 100 and you know, international level. They're all superstars, aren't they? There's very few people who follow international cricket who won't know pretty much all of those players as being a star and can tell you about some of their performances on the big stage like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Their batting lineup is just ridiculous. I mean, the fact that Sophie Molyneux, she's carded at 9 today, but she's been carded at 10 for most of the tournament. Well, she opens in domestic cricket. She batted at 4 and 5 when she played in the 100, and she's coming in at 10 at this lineup. I think that tells you everything you need to know. Annabelle Sutherland, she's really not done a whole lot in this tournament yet. She's not had a great deal to do. She was the player of the tournament in the 100 this summer in England, runs, wickets. So, you know, there's an example of two players that are actually, you know, not the biggest stars in this team, but actually they're both world-class players. So, yeah, just brimming with quality the whole way down. And every time you think you get a wicket, and you think you've made an inroad, and some other world-class player comes to the crease.
Yeah, absolutely. So for Pakistan, it's going to be a challenge at the top as well with the ball, the bowling power that Australia have got there. Muniba Ali, as I mentioned, captaining today. How big a blow will that be? Fatima Sana obviously not available today.
No, it'll be a huge blow for Pakistan as well, and especially the group as a unit. They're so tight, and it's clearly not just something that's affected Fatima herself, but the team in total. So you'd hope they'd be able to come together and really be stronger today.
Right, the umpires just making their way out into the middle, and will be followed by the two teams on the red carpets and in amongst all the pyrotechnics either side of them, the mascots alongside all of the players from both sides. Full squads making their way out to stand beside the giant flags of their nations and ready for their national anthems. It's been a really well-attended World Cup. Generally, there were lots of fears about empty stadiums, although unfortunately this particular evening it does look a little bit emptier than it has been for some of those games earlier on. But still, some Pakistani fans in there of all ages. And here we go. Here are the national anthems. We will start with Pakistan. And now for the anthem of Australia.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are one and free, with golden soil.
There we have it, the two national anthems of both Pakistan and Australia. It's the DJ now takes control and plays the theme tune and various other tunes. I tell you what, guys, the music has been pretty on point in this T20 World Cup. Usually is at ICC tournaments, isn't it? They're coming out with some right bangers.
Honestly, the playlist has been absolutely phenomenal.
Any favourites?
Oh, you know what? I love the anthem for the tournament.
Yeah.
It's a really good track.
They've
It's
done
quite catchy.
pretty well. The ICC have done pretty well, haven't they? And look, I'm sure that you know, we'll have another one. I don't want to sort of name any particular tournaments where I've not quite been a fan, but there's some that get into your head, aren't they? Do you remember Live the Game, Love the Game? 2021, it was the Australian, no, 2022 Men's World Cup.
Oh yes, that was a good one, wasn't it?
Kohli, you know, got those runs against Pakistan, that World Cup. Live the game, love the game. You know, it just gets in your head. Kirsty's shaking her head. She's not impressed.
I don't remember it. If I remember it, maybe I'd be impressed.
Well, it clearly didn't have an impact on you, Kirsty.
No, sorry.
Well, currently they're blasting the anthem for this year's tournament, Whatever It Takes, around the ground, and yeah, that has a nice little vibe to it.
Absolutely, as the Pakistani openers get prepared on the sidelines, the Australians in their huddle, led by Alyssa Healy, arms around each other, discussing how they're going to try and get some early wickets here and make the most of what is a fresh pitch. Before I hand over to Nikki Chowdhury to take you through the opening stages of this match, Kirsty, it's been a pretty decent World Cup in terms of we've had some surprise results. We've had some really good individual performances, haven't we? It's ticking all the boxes as we go along.
Yeah, it is. I think it's been difficult in a sense of obviously being moved from Bangladesh to Dubai last minute. I think that's always going to cause you know, some problems, but I think the one thing this World Cup's missed so far is close games. There haven't been very many close games. I mean, yes, surprise results. I think New Zealand thrashing India was a surprise, but we just haven't had that real nail-biter that's gone down to the last ball, the last over, and been really tight yet. So unsure if we'll see it today, but I think when we do see that, I think that'll have ticked all the boxes.
I think judging by the head-to-heads and everything before, it might be unlikely that we'll see a close one today, but you never know. It's a world tournament. Nikki Chowdhury, take us through the opening stages.
Thanks very much, Nikesh. The players making their way out into the middle in Dubai, where it's sweltering 35 degrees. It's absolutely boiling. And of course, the heat makes it just that much harder. Sidra Amin and Muniba Siddiqui opening the batting for Pakistan as they take their guards. Floodlights shining in all their glory. And of course, Alyssa Healy at the toss did mention that they're expecting the dew to make quite the entrance later on in the evening in this game. Anthem still blasting around the ground. Into your music then, Kirsty?
Yeah, I'm into my music, yeah, definitely. Listen to all sorts of different things, to be fair. Yourself?
Of course, of course. Actually, present a radio show, so play lots of music at the weekends. A lot of Bollywood music, so yeah, that's my jam. As Megan Shute has ball in hand. She'll be ready to go. Just waiting for some of the fielders to get into position. We have had some decent crowds here in the Women's T20 World Cup out in the UAE. Matches played across Sharjah and Dubai. And this evening, it's going to be Megan Shute opening up the bowling. So we've got a deep backward square leg and a deep cover in play for the left-hander. Muniba, who currently is taking her guard once again. Got my glasses on as well. Surely you're in the danger of them steaming up in this heat. Surely.
That would be difficult, wouldn't it?
Clearly.
You can always identify her with her glasses on.
Definitely. Muniba on strike. In run Shute now. And this one's left alone outside the off stump, straight into the gloves of Healy. And we spoke about slow pitches. Well, that one just about on the half volley. Healy had to take that, didn't she?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the pitch plays today. Obviously, we're in Dubai, which the last few games have shown it has been a bit quicker and a little bit more high scoring than Sharjah. But certainly not pace of pitches that we're used to seeing in places like Australia, South Africa.
Here's shoot to Maniba, and this time Maniba off the front foot defends into the offside.
Megan Shute, of course, becoming the leading wicket taker in Women's World T20s in ICC events in the last game. Pretty good record to hold that.
You won't be complaining with those sort of stats and records, would you?
She has been around a long time.
I was going to say, she's been around in the game a while, but to keep performing at that level, really impressive. As this time she's in and outside the off stump. It's left alone by Maniba. Tries to reach for it. A bit of movement from Shute early on.
Yeah, if Pakistan are to cause an upset, if we like, they will need to take advantage of this power play when the ball's hard and the seamers are on, because I imagine it will get tricky when the spin comes on later on.
Here's Shute in, round the wicket now. This one outside the off stump, gets it out to edge, and it's run down towards third. That should go all the way. Oh, doesn't it? Brilliant piece of fielding by Sophie Molyneux. I think she might have just hurt herself. They've come back for two, and she's crutching her right arm in pain. She looks in absolute agony. Physio's on their way over as well.
Oh no, this is really bad news. That's Taylor Vlaminck down there, and she has a history of shoulder injuries. In fact, she's just been out for 9 months with a dislocated shoulder that she did in England in 2023. And as she's dived there and her knee has stuck in the ground, she's landed on her left shoulder and she's clutching it. And I'm very fearful that this is going to be bad news because, like I said, she has a really bad history of injuries, and particularly shoulder injuries.
She does not look comfortable. That is safe to say. That knee really just stuck into the ground. You can say it's slightly damp on the outfield already, and she's managed to get herself up on her feet now, but I don't think we're going to be seeing her continue.
It's a really sad sight. This, I've played a little bit against Taylor Vlaminck. I know her quite well, and she has had a horrid run of injuries through her career. She's only young and she's missed years of cricket with injuries, and she's only just got fit again for this World Cup. So this is awful to see. I'm a bit upsetting actually that they're showing this repeatedly on the screens, because I think all her teammates will be feeling that for her as well, because they know how hard she's worked to get back fit. She saved a team 2 runs, but unfortunately she's off the pitch.
Here's shoot into Maniba now, who's forward and defends into the offside once again. Oh, that did not look pretty. She looks to be in some serious pain, and coming into this game for Grace Harris as well. No matter of a doubt that she'll be absolutely gutted.
Yeah, especially if it's serious, and unfortunately it looks that way. You can see the coaching staff hands on their heads as well. They know for her.
Here's shoot into Maniba now, who's forward, advances down the track and again blocks it into the offside. And that will be the end of the first over. Just 2 runs from it for Pakistan. You just tuned in. Australia won the toss and decided to have a field in this clash against Pakistan in Dubai. Currently top of the table. And of course, reigning champions.
Yeah, Australia, good start there with the ball. 2 runs coming off that first over. And as I said, Pakistan, they really need to make the most of this power play, because when that ball starts to slow up, the spin comes on, could become a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, you can see just how slow the pitch is now, and perhaps as a batter you'd probably look at maybe just standing a little bit outside your crease just to perhaps get that pace that you want as an opener, especially.
Yeah, especially when the seamers are on. We're going to see the off spin of Ash Gardner now, so it's really important that these opening 2 batters here for Pakistan have a plan. And we actually saw Bangladesh try to take on West Indies spinners in the power play yesterday.
Here's Gardner to Amin, who's down on one knee, sweeps and doesn't quite time it well enough, but will get it away for a single as deep square leg comes in to do the fielding. 3 for no loss.
Yep, sweeping could be a good option on this pitch here in Dubai. Certainly an option that Pakistan players tend to use. They like the sweeps, but obviously Ash Gardner has the field set for that. Elise Perry at deep backwards square will be covering a lot of ground, no doubt.
Yeah, sweep definitely an option on these slow tracks. And of course, yesterday in the West Indies innings, we saw how Hayley Matthews really used the depth of the crease as well. And we've seen that through most of the games in this tournament. As here's Gardner into Maniba. Round the wicket now. He's down on one knee, goes to sweep. I don't think she's got bat on it, but it's running down fine. It's probably going for buys. Should come back for a couple. And she does, just...
Yeah,
she did get a bit of...
I think she got a bit of glove on that, and I think just as well because it could have been skidding on to leg stump without it. High risk there, stepping across the stumps early against the off spin of Ash Gardner is Maniba.
Maniba taps her bat as she awaits Gardner, who skips in now, tosses it up and closes the face of the bat into the leg side to take a single. As there's a bit of an overthrow at the non-striker's end, but it's not going to cause any damage. 6 for no loss. Nice to see some fans for both Australia and Pakistan in the crowds as well. Kids finishing off from school in time for the weekend as Gardner's in again to Amin, who's forward and drops this into the offside. She wants to take the single, but it's firmly denied by Maniba at the non-striker's end.
Lovely control of length there from Ash Gardner. Particularly tricky, as we said, on these pitches if the length is right.
Gardner into Amin now. Down on one knee, goes to sweep again, and this time she will beat the fielder, and it's going to go all the way down towards Perry at deep backward square leg. And come back for a couple. 8 for no loss.
Yeah, nice option this. You know, we've spoken about the sweeps, and we spoke a little bit about Bangladesh yesterday, not being able to find the boundary, but also not being able to rotate the strike so well. So this is good from Pakistan.
Gardner into Amin again, down on one knee, goes to sweep, and this runs down to Elise Perry, down at deep backward square leg once again. And that'll be the end of the second over. 9 at the end of 2 overs for Pakistan, and they would kind of want to, like, just perhaps accelerate a little bit in the power play, try and cash in as much as they can here with only the 2 fielders out in the deep.
Yeah, it's that difficult balance for a team like Pakistan who, like, you know, if we're being brutally honest, they are lacking their depth in the batting department. So how hard do they go? They can't really risk too many early wickets. They don't have the depth of team like Australia, England, South Africa. So and historically as well, they've been a team that have built. That's how they play their cricket. They don't accelerate hard. They build through the power play and try and accelerate through those middle overs. Are good players of spin, but should help them in these conditions.
Megan Shute with ball in hand is currently just finalising her field. Deep backward square leg and a deep mid wicket. And she's going to be bowling to Amin. Shute in, and this one just slightly down the leg side. It's played to 45, no run.
Good use of the feet there, though, from Amin. I think that's the first time we've seen a bit of that, and trying to negate the swing of Megan Shute by coming down the wicket. I think it's a great option against in-swing bowling. Coming down, you take out leg before.
Especially with the slow surface as well, as a batter, you just want to get the ball into your zone. As in comes Shute now to Amin, down on one knee, goes to sweep, and it will just be the one as Perry cuts it off down on the boundary. 10 for no loss.
Yeah, Elise Perry in the game again there at deep backward square. I mean, the whole tournament she's ran backward square to backward square to backward square, now shows a great you know, her athleticism as a fielder to continue to do that for 20 overs.
Yeah, it's not easy, and especially we've seen that the boundaries in this tournament have been quite big, so to be able to get those yards in 20 overs in this heat really does go and show how fit this Australian side are. In run Shute now to Maniba. Round the wicket, Maniba forward, defends with a full face of the bat into the offside.
That's a better length from Shute as well, actually. A little bit fuller there. I think one of Pakistan's biggest strengths playing off the back foot in general. They're smaller in stature, so they pick up length really well. They sweep well. but can struggle when that ball's a little bit fuller, and especially when she's still managing to get some good swing shape on the ball.
Shoot into Maniva once again, outside the off stump, up and over the inner ring. And it's going to go down to Perry again at deep cover. Will just be the single. Didn't quite time that how she wanted to, did Maniva. She's managed to get it away and have a run to the total, though.
You're right, she didn't time it brilliantly, but great intent again. I think when it's in their area, they've got to show that intent to score runs and try to hit boundaries early on.
Amin on strike, taps her bat, is forward and drives this into the offside. It's fielded by Litchfield at cover. No run, 11 for no loss. And I think one thing in Pakistan's favour, of course, is this left-hand, right-hand combination. We know as a bowler, having to be able to adjust and change your lines and lengths, and constantly they are like doing a pretty good job at taking the single and rotating strikes. To be able to be on the money. Shoots in now, and this one just jags back a little bit off the surface as Amin looks to turn it in to the leg side, but that just hits her on the top part of her thigh.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the left-hand, right-hand combination is always a bit of a nightmare as a bowler, and I think that's something that teams have started to do quite well. Is Australia and Pakistan, two of the teams that do it best, is try and keep that left-hand, right-hand combination as much as they can through their innings. Keep the bowlers on their toes, and it avoids matchups and things as well. For example, we've seen Ash Gardner, the off-spinner, now she's the matchup to the left-hander, so get the right-hander on strike. Now we've got Sophie Molyneux coming on, the left-arm spinner. So this is good for Pakistan, that Muniba Ali, the captain, the left-hander, is on strike. This is a better matchup, and if she can try and find the boundary, that will help Pakistan.
Yeah, Sophie Molyneux replacing Ash Gardner as Muniba takes her guard, taps her bat and awaits. Molyneux with ball in hand now skips through to Muniba, who's forward, and tentatively places into the leg side and takes on the single. It's a good piece of work in the field, but Amin just about makes her way in.
Now she should be safe here. She was a well-judged single, but she didn't really run her bat in very well, and I think that's why Healy behind the stumps is actually asking the umpire if there's going to be a review at all here.
I think she was ball watching a little bit. If we just see it on the replay, looks like Amin at the non-striker's end, just a split second, was just having a little bit of a ball watch, and she's on strike now as it's Molyneux. Taps her bat and waits, and Molyneux's in through, down on one knee, goes to reverse sweep, doesn't quite time this, and it goes over to backward point. Dot ball, 12 for no loss, and Australia have won all 13 T20 matches against Pakistan so far, so they're on a winning streak against them. As here's Molyneux in to Amin now, who's forward and defends. A little bit of bounce here as they take a single, as they drop it in to the offside. Score moves on to 13 for no loss.
Nice running from Pakistan there. I think that's exactly what they need to do and continue to do through this innings, as we know boundaries are going to be quite hard to come by. So if they can tap and run and use their single options and their strike rotation options.
Molyneux into the left-hander. Muniba is down on one knee, slog sweeps, and she's caught at short mid-wicket. Big intent there from Muniba, but unfortunately she hasn't quite got all of her might on that one. And it's a great catch, a solid piece of fielding. And Pakistan lose their first wicket, 13 for 1.
Yeah, Muniba Ali, the first time we've seen some real intent, gone for the slog sweep. I think it was a great option. She hasn't quite managed to get it over the head of Phoebe Litchfield, who is an excellent fielder. It was a fairly straightforward catch for her, but we have seen her over the last kind of 12, 18 months take some extremely good catches.
It was a great catch, actually, just going over her head to make sure she timed that jump perfectly. Was a job well done. Pakistan get their first breakthrough, and Muniba Ali just not quite getting a body position in the right place to get it over mid-wicket's head, and unfortunately she will have to depart. 13 for 1, Pakistan. As Sadaf makes her way out into the middle to take her guard. Sadaf Shamas in at number 3. And currently just tying her shoelaces. You'd have thought those would be sorted before she came onto the pitch. As we should be good to go.
Might be a little tactic, just
Of course.
calm the heart rate down, get herself ready to go, get herself set, and re-strap the gloves.
We're good to go now. Molyneux into Sadaf now off the back foot. Gently pushes this into the offside. It's fielded at point. Good over here so far from Sophie Molyneux. Just 2 from it. And of course the wicket of Muniba Ali.
She has a knack of that, Sophie Molyneux, coming into the attack, taking a wicket in her first over.
Sadaf taps her bat, awaits Molyneux, who's in now, tosses this up as forward, defends into the leg side. They're going to take on the single. If that was a direct hit, that was definitely gone. It's been overthrown. No one's backing up, and they should be able to come back for a couple. And the score moves on to 15 for 1. A bit of a risky run to take in the first place there from Pakistan. You can tell the pressure is building. Molyneux with the fielding off her own bowling as well. Had she struck the stumps at the non-striker's end, well, Sadaf would definitely have been out of her ground.
Yeah, actually a bit of a moment of madness from both teams there. Firstly, Pakistan running, never a single there. Completely misjudged how close that went to Sophie Molyneux, and then Sophie Molyneux with a bit of a wayward throw there, which is not like Australia to be kind of untidy like that, but as Litchfield came in thinking she would just throw it straight to her at the stumps, it then left nobody backing up, and they came through for another overthrow.
End of the 4th over. Pakistan 15 for 1 as Shoot with ball in hand is into Amin now. He's down on one knee, goes to sweep. This goes fine. It's not going to run away down to the boundary, but they will come through for a single. A little bit of a misfield at 45. 16 for 1.
Shows the skill level of Megan Shoot here, bowling 3 through in the power play, as she so often does for Australia. She's been so successful opening the bowling for them over the last number of years. Really, that in-swing to the right-hander.
Shoot in to Sadaf now. Wide of the crease, and it's a play and a miss from Sadaf, and Healy swift with the gloves behind the stumps. Takes the ball, 16 for 1.
And that's beautifully bowled from Megan Shoot. Just holds its line there outside the off-stump and has Sadaf reaching for it.
Shoot at the top of the mark. Is in to Sadaf now. Off the back foot, cautiously pushes this into the offside. We'll take the single on, and this is some better running here from Pakistan out in there in the middle. 17 for 1. Played that slightly softer as well, so she allowed herself to get the time to actually come through for the single.
Yeah, exactly. I think teams like Pakistan, who, as we've said, are going to be taking on more of those drop-in runs and single options, I think the communication has to be on the money.
Shoot into Amin, wide of the crease once again. This one jags back a little bit. She's down on one knee and sweeps down to Perry at deep square leg. Will just be the single. 18 for 1.
Yeah, they're just ticking along here, Pakistan. Not hit a boundary yet in the innings, which, if they can't do that in the power play, it's going to become increasingly difficult through those middle overs when Australia can have 4 on the boundary.
Sadaf shuffles across on the off stump, off the back foot, cuts, and it's fielded at point. Doesn't get this one away. And Megan Shoot, of course, so far in the tournament with 6 wickets.
A rare loose ball there from Megan Shoot, actually wide outside the off stump, and you can see Sadaf's frustration there that she didn't manage to pierce the field.
Especially when you've got a player like Shoot who does give you a slightly looser delivery. That's when you don't want to miss out on those, because pretty much 99.9% of the time they're on the money, aren't they?
Yes, that's exactly the problem. If you can't cash in on those rare loose balls, you then have to start taking risks against balls that are not there to go to the boundary.
That's what creates the pressure. Shoots in now to Sadaf, who's forward, and she's edged it, and they've gone up for a caught behind, and Alyssa Healy is very quick to review this one. Australia, by the looks of it, are extremely convinced that they've got Sadaf here. She's reached for this one. And they're going to take this up to the third umpire.
Well, when you're the captain and the wicketkeeper, you don't have to go and ask for permission to review that one. So she's sent it straight upstairs. There was no appeal, it was just a straight celebration. We've got Kim Cotton on the third umpire who's going to have a look at this one.
Can we move on to Ultra Edge, please?
And just wait for the decision to be made. Sadaf stands her ground, but I always find that surprising. Like, if she knows she's hit it, maybe she hasn't.
Well, she hasn't. Australia were very convinced, but we're just looking
back on frame
now, and well, there's a clear spike. And Sadaf will be making her way back now, and Alyssa Healy, well, she had no doubt. It was literally less than half a second for her to review that decision. And Pakistan, they lose their second. 18 for 2 now. Sadaf will have to depart. Megan Shute gets her first wicket in this game, taking her to 7 wickets in this tournament so far of the ICC Women's T20 World Cup. And at the end of 5 overs, Pakistan are 18 for 2. A few more words from you, Kirsty, and I will welcome back Nikesh.
Yeah, not Pakistan's power play so far, and this task that already felt like a mountain has just become even bigger, losing Sadaf. After 5 overs, 18 for 2, it feels like they have a big upward climb ahead of them.
Absolutely, and we've spoken, haven't we, Kirsty, about the importance of power play batting in this tournament in particular, because we've seen in previous matches, not only are you allowed to obviously spread your field, but the ball gets softer. It's difficult in these conditions, on these pitches in the UAE, to then get it away. You've got to make the most of the hard new ball, and at the moment Pakistan haven't done that. 18 for 2, 1 over remaining in this power play. It is going to be Megan Shute, Nida Dar, the new batter, at the non-strikers end. But it's Amin who's on strike and defending this one into the offside for no run.
Yes, well, it's a really bad time to lose their second wicket now, because it's going to be hard to accelerate in this final over of the power play.
Molyneux in with a left arm spin. Down on one knee goes Amin, sweeps it round the corner. Doesn't get great contact, but manages to get a single down towards 45. Nobody inside the circle. They're miserly, aren't they, these Australians as well, with the ball. Once they sniff a bit of blood, take a couple of early wickets, they really look to go for the kill. As Molyneux floats one up, a big appeal for LBW. Finger goes up. Nida Dar's been given out for a golden duck. She immediately reviews the decision. I think I heard something woody on the stump mic, and you're signalling the same, Kirsty.
I think as well, either Nida Dar's reviewing this because she knows she's hit it, because she's reviewed it straight away, or she's gone, well, we can't be 19 for 3, so I need to review it. But yeah, I mean, if she's not hit it, it's stone dead, but I just wasn't sure if she got a little under edge onto that.
We have a player review for LBW. The original decision's out. It's a fair delivery. Just looking at split screen here. Ball's passing close to the bat. Keep rolling through. Keep rolling through.
Kim Cotton had a bit of work to do already in the first 5.5 overs of the game.
Can we go on to Ultra Edge, please?
Absolutely, and I think, oh, does that come off her forearm and then onto the pad? And the part of her forearm where there's no sweatband attached to her glove, in that case, if that's adjacent, it will be given out. But was there any glove involved before it got to the forearm is the question. So we'll have to get the Ultra Edge technology up onto the screen.
Which, as usual, is taking its time.
Yeah, I mean, the Australian analysts, they've got their laptops in front of them, kind of looking up as if to say, well, we've got it. I don't think they will have. But everyone's looking intently, the Pakistani analysts with their laptops out. So much backroom staff these days.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got, especially, you know, teams like Australia and England, they've got an unbelievable amount of staff with them on these tours, especially World Cups, of course. But, you know, you kind of hope for the game that this isn't out. I think if Pakistan are 19 for 3, they're going to be in a whole heap of bother. Here we go. Here's the Ultra Edge. So there's quite a lot of spikes and things before the ball even gets anywhere near the bat.
It's
not sure how they're going to be able to
This
tell.
is going to be difficult.
Keep rolling through.
It's almost like
Keep rolling through.
an audio wave for anybody who's ever edited any piece of audio on a
Just go back
computer.
one frame.
It's very difficult to
I can see ball on
tell.
glove clearly there. So I'm going to go back on field to Anna to change your decision to not out. I'll let you know when you're on screen. Stand by.
Interesting. She's frozen it.
You're on screen.
Third
signal
umpire
down.
on a sort of still, rather than going with the ultra edge, because that was going to be useless given the fact that there were just spikes going everywhere before the ball got anywhere near. And it looked as though it did hit the top of the glove before it hit.
I've not seen anything
pad.
like that before, where ultra edge has almost become useless because it was just spiking the whole time. Bizarre that, but Dar survives.
Some sort of sound was being picked up, but yep, Dar survives that first delivery. Molyneux's in again, and this time it's been swept. I'm not sure if there was bat or pad involved on that, but it goes down the leg side. They take a single.
She's not moving away from her plan of sweeping anyway. Looks like it's how Pakistan are going to be tackling the spin of Sophie Molyneux and Ash Gardner.
It's interesting, a lot of sides sort of before the early 2000s, that was their go-to when they weren't sure about facing spinners. And here we go, top edge sweep. It's gone fine this time from Amin. It's running away towards the boundary. It won't get there, but Amin will get herself another couple of runs. Unconvincing, but useful for Pakistan.
Yeah, I'm surprised Australia don't have a short 45 in, given the amount of sweeps that Pakistan are playing, whether it's to save the single or obviously the chance of a top edge and a catch. I think it would be a profitable position for them.
Here we go, I mean, facing the final ball of the over, comes down the track, flicks it away into the gap there, just forward of mid-wicket. Takes the single, she'll retain strike. 6 overs gone then, the power play done and dusted. And Pakistan are 23 for 2.
Yeah, unfortunately, 23 off the power play. Not a massively convincing score so far, and going to make it pretty difficult here from the next 14 overs. If they're going to have a chance to push a competitive total, they're going to have to start taking some risks. But like we say, that bowling lineup of Australia, they just keep coming, and there's no obvious weak link for them to target.
Yep, no obvious weak links in this Australian side in total. I mean, how many players? You had 3 Australians in the Trent Rockets side this year, didn't you? Only one of them has managed to make this particular team. That's Ash Gardner. Annabelle Sutherland comes into the attack, right arm over. That's been chopped away into the ground, and well fielded there by Molyneux at backward point, jumping up and away. I mean, it's so competitive even to get into the squad, let alone the 11.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Alana King will feel a bit disappointed not to have played yet in the competition, but like you say, it shows the strength of their attack and their spin attack in particular.
Sutherland in again, very full delivery, hits her on the pad, Amin, and this time the finger goes up. And is she going to review this? Sidra Amin goes upstairs, makes the T sign, well, the kind of variation of the T sign, taps her the back of the bat with her glove, and well, what does she think has saved her here? Maybe some inside edge, although she didn't go straight up, so she did take a shimmy down the track. Could it be that?
I think more than anything, she might just be reviewing because she knows they're in a bit of trouble.
The ball is close to the bat.
It is close to the bat, but
ultra edge, please.
Very close. Let's see if ultra edge has corrected itself.
if it hasn't, she might get away with one here with all the fuzzy, spiky line.
Well, they've got to have sufficient evidence to overturn, haven't they? And if it's fuzzy way before it gets to the pad or close to the inside edge, they can't really remove that doubt. I mean, they can't create that doubt, sorry, that 100% doubt that it is definitely good enough to overturn the umpire's original decision, because if the technology is faulty, you've kind of just got to go with what you see. And it doesn't look as though there's any clear deviation as such, but still very, very close. We are getting the ultra edge. It is a flat line, and it remains a flat line as the ball goes past the inside edge.
Yeah, no inside edge there, so all that's left to possibly save her is
Next frame,
sliding
please.
down the leg side, but can't see
there,
middle stump from
line.
our clip, so...
Get flat line, play it through.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see the ball
satisfied,
tracking
no
now.
bat involved. Can we move to ball tracking when ready, please?
Right, so no bat involved. So first tick for Annabelle Sutherland there. Impact is in line, but is sliding down leg side. Oh, it's clipping the leg stump. So it will stay with the umpire's on-field decision, and it was literally just clipping the leg stump. We sometimes see the umpires' calls where there's a chunk of that leg stump being taken in the opinion of ball tracking. This time it would have just gone on to clip that leg stump, but it's good enough. And Pakistan lose their third wicket. Sidra Amin on her way back for 12. Annabelle Sutherland into the wickets almost immediately, just a couple of balls into her spell. Pakistan 23 for 3 in the 7th over.
Yeah, probably the last thing Pakistan need when they're ready in a bit of bother, an umpire's call not gone their way. But that's the game, unfortunately, and Sutherland with an instant impact.
Right, so the new batter, Umaima Sohail. It's difficult, really, to keep up to date with this Pakistan batting lineup because they like to mix it up, don't they? In the previous couple of games, they've kind of almost reversed their batting order in some ways. You know, a lot of tailenders coming in, acting as potential pinch hitters. Sutherland into Umaima. That's down the leg side. Will be signalled wide.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I think Pakistan trying something slightly different and using different people in different positions.
Well, I think the problem is that if you're going to send in somebody up the order, it's got to be with a clear plan. That hasn't really been the case in this tournament so far through their 2 matches. They've sent in batters who just look to knock it around, as Umaima does there. Manages to beat the dive of Molyneux at backward point. Get off the mark with a single.
Yeah, we've seen a few teams try that, and to be honest, we haven't seen much success. I mean, even Australia have done it with Georgia Wareham coming in at 3.
Yep.
I can't agree with that one, given the strength and depth that they have. Other teams tried it, of course. West Indies tried it with Joseph opening in that first game, and that was fairly unsuccessful.
Sutherland into Dar. It's a short delivery. It's well pulled into the ground, down towards fine leg. Another single taken. Annabelle Sutherland looking to mix up her length there. As we take a look at the wickets once more. Some good catching from the Australians early on. Don't expect anything less, really. We wait till we hear news as Sutherland comes in against slower ball. Well defended by Umaima for no run into the offside. Fleming, can that dive early on? She looks to have dislocated her shoulder. Her knee went into the ground. I mean, the knee was the thing that concerned me first. It took a massive chunk out of the outfield, but she was clutching her shoulder, which, if it is a dislocated shoulder, never pleasant, but a lot better than a broken knee. There's another chance there, just chipped to short mid-wicket. It's a diving effort by Gardner, and it's put down. So just as we praise the Australians and their catching in the field, I mean, it was a difficult chance, but one you'd perhaps have expected her to take. Pakistan get another single. End of the 7th over. They're 27 for 3. 26 for 3, rather.
Yeah, just on Taylor Vlaminck there, you know, a dislocated shoulder for some, maybe not too serious, pop it back in and get on with it, but unfortunately for her, she has had serious injuries. I was playing against her actually when she did her shoulder the first time, and 9 months I think she was out for, needed shoulder surgery.
We hope it's not related to that.
We really hope not, because as I mentioned already, she has had serious injuries, stress fracture of the foot, stress fracture of the back I think as well, so she spent a lot of time out of the game for a young player, and it's the last thing you want to see.
Right, Georgia Wareham into the attack then. First delivery into Nidadar is down the leg side. It's been swept quite hard, quite firmly, but there is protection out there at fine leg in the form of Elise Perry, so it will just be another single. Is it as easy as that? If you dislocate a shoulder, just pop it back in, get on with it? I mean, there's a bit of recovery time, isn't there?
Well, it depends. I've seen people pop them back in and get on with it. Yeah, genuinely.
Maybe not if you're a bowler and that's your bowling arm.
Maybe not.
Another one down the leg side. This time Omeima helps it on its way. It's gone really fine this time. There's a massive chase on for Perry. She'll get there. And Pakistan will help themselves to a couple of more runs.
A little bit of a loose ball there from Georgia Wareham, but again, similar to Molyneux, I think they need to have a short fine in there just purely because of the amount of sweeps that Pakistan are playing. Even their best ball, there's a potential that a top edge could get there.
Wareham floats one up outside the off stump, and Omeima looks to smash it through the offside, gets a toe end on it, and it trickles away back to the bowler. You're right, we've seen them trying to sweep those deliveries from outside off as well, haven't they? Just on length, really, more than anything else. Wareham full and straight. It's driven straight to mid-off, though. No run.
Yeah, that's nice from Wareham. Bit of flight. Little bit slower through the air. Try and force Pakistan to do something different, choose a different option.
29 for 3 then in the 8th over. Another floated delivery. That's a lovely sounding slog sweep, but it's not gone far enough. And it's a pretty simple catch from Ash Gardner running in off the mid-wicket boundary. It's a 4th wicket for Australia, and Pakistan now in deep, deep trouble. 29 for 4 in the 8th over. Georgia Wareham strikes.
Yeah, another wicket falls. Pakistan in all sorts of bother. Not really the option. I mean, whether they used Sohail to come in and be a bit of a pinch hitter, and that was her role. But if they didn't, it's a poor option, I would say. She's probably not going to be able to clear the field, and would have been a better option to have tried to keep that slog sweep on the ground, try and find the gap between the fielders for 4 rather than going aerial.
Yeah, big open gap. I mean, those are the kind of shots they probably could have gotten away with during the power play, with less fielders available on those boundaries. As it is, she's on her way back. Omeima, just 3 to her name. Alia Riaz, as you can hear, the PA system around the ground, strides in at number 6 with her side in deep bother here. 29 for 4 in the 8th over. If you are just joining us here on 5 Sports Extra in the UK and around the world, whether it's via the ICC website or the ICC Listen app, or indeed via your local station, wherever you may be in the world listening, a warm welcome to you. Georgia Wareham then to complete her first over. Oh, that one turns sharply, and Alia didn't know much about that. She manages to somehow defend it into the leg side. It's a dot ball to finish off the 8th over. 8 gone then. Pakistan 29 for 4. Run rate 3.62. It's a difficult one. How do they approach the rest of the innings? They know they need to up their run rate, but at the risk of losing more wickets.
Yeah, they've got themselves in a real hole here, and it's going to be a difficult challenge to get out of it now. But I think these two have to try and build a partnership, try and keep rotating the strike, potentially try and put away the odd boundary ball if they get it. And if they can build a bit of a partnership up to 13, 14 overs, they'll have an opportunity to try and accelerate through the back end.
Sutherland then into her second over. That's a full delivery. That's well driven over the top of mid-on, and that's going to race away for 4. Beautiful shot there from Nida Dar. She was standing, and she gave it the pose as well at the end.
Yeah, fantastic. And a great option as well from Nida Dar. Straights her up, over pitch from Sutherland. And it's Pakistan's first 4 of the innings after 8.1 overs.
We have a boundary. I mean, it was, from a neutral's point of view, worth waiting for, I thought.
Yeah, it was an excellent shot.
Sutherland pulls back her length. Oh, it's been edged and just wide of Alyssa Healy. It's racing down towards the boundary. It will be cut off, and they'll only get a single, Pakistan. She was looking to guide that one, Nida Dar, down towards deep third. Got it very fine. It was a genuine edge. Slower delivery there from Sutherland, almost off the shoulder of the bat, and she did just get the end of her glove, just the fingertip onto it, Alyssa Healy, to take some sting out of the shot. Sutherland races in again. She's not happy. She digs one in short. It's been pulled off an under edge into the leg side for a single. Talk us through that then. I mean, look, they're 29 for 4. They were 29 for 4 earlier on in the over, at the start of this over. Do you have a slip in at this stage? Do you just look to go for the kill, or it's not necessary at this stage for Australia?
No, I'm not sure against the seamers. If I would, I think I'd just keep protecting.
Down the track comes Dar, and she just plonks it into a gap with extra cover, runs through for the single.
Certainly against the leg spin of Wareham, who seems to be getting a bit of purchase off the pitch. It's not a bad option at all, and forcing Pakistan to go hard up the ground rather than potentially putting them off these dabs and runs down to third man. But a little bit of intent there from Nida Dar, which is exactly what we want.
Sutherland goes short again. That is a short, slower bouncer, and Alia just lets it go through to Alyssa Healy.
I watched Pakistan play against Australia when I was in Australia a couple of years ago, and I was really impressed with Alia Riaz. Actually, she was one of the few players that really took the game on when she played. She kind of tended to come in the back end of the innings, and she gave it a whack, so I'm hoping she can do the same today.
Full delivery from Sutherland into the pads of Riaz. There's no run. That previous slow bouncer actually was signalled wide for being over head height. So it was left alone by Alia Riaz. 37 for 4. One legal delivery remaining in this 9th over. Pakistan edging their run rate just to beyond 4 runs and over at this stage. That's a good Yorker to finish off the over from Sutherland. Well dug out by Alia Riaz, but no runs scored. So 9 overs gone, 37 for 4. It's been a really good start for Annabelle Sutherland. 1 for 11 from her 2 overs, creating a chance. Could have had a couple of wickets if Alyssa Healy was maybe another couple of inches taller.
Yeah, Healy couldn't quite reach for that one. It was well bowled from Annabelle Sutherland, just mixing it up there through that over. We saw a couple of short balls, we saw Yorker at the end, and a couple of length balls, and again just shows the strength of this Australian side. They've got all the deliveries up their sleeve.
Neither are then back on strike as Georgia Wareham continues. It's a loopy, floaty delivery, which is met with a full toss, but she almost pulled out of the shot there, Nida Dar. She was looking to wind up and smash it into the leg side, but just checked it and hit it gently to mid-on for no run. Wareham with another similar delivery. This time she does chip it over the top of the infield Dar, and it trickles away to McGrath there, running in from long off. She will get a single.
A little bit of a strange passage of play there. She gets the full toss, which she could have easily hit over mid-on, who's in the ring, and then comes down the wicket next ball and tries to clear long off, who's on the boundary.
Well, she comes down the track. This time it's Alia. Gets down on one knee, somehow gets it into the leg side with an attempted sweep. And they get through for another run. That was pretty ugly, but effective.
Yeah, I think she wanted the length to go over the offside, over the top, and didn't get it. Was unable to really react and change her option, and luckily gets an inside edge and scamper through for a single.
Nida Dar comes down the track. This time she's stumped. That's a beautiful delivery from Georgia Wareham. There was drift into the right-hander, just a hint of turn off the surface, past the outside edge, and pretty regulation stumping for somebody of Alyssa Healy's quality. Pakistan lose half their side then inside the first half of this innings. 39 for 5 in the 10th over. Talk us through that ball.
Yeah, it's poor batting more than anything else. It's well bowled by Georgia Wareham. She sees Nida Dar coming early. She's able to flight it up and toss it outside off stump as Nida Dar makes no attempt really to come down the line of the ball. She just came straight down, kind of middle and leg stump, trying to give herself space, ends up giving herself far too much, and it is easy pickings for Alyssa Healy behind the stumps. Poor batting when they're already in a whole heap of trouble. Slipped to 39 for 5 now to Pakistan.
Iram Javed, the new batter, coming in at number 7. As Nida Dar makes her way off, and well, it's not a happy looking dugout as you'd imagine from Pakistan. don't think they look too impressed with that shot, though. Got some shots at the skipper, Muniba Ali, who didn't last a long time herself in the middle, to be fair. None of them have, but that shot was probably unnecessary at that point in time. Hiram Javed then, with an average of 9.5 across her T20I career. Facing up here to Georgia Wareham. She smashes her first delivery, gets a thickish outside edge, just out of the reach of the fielder there at point. And we'll get off the mark with a streaky single.
Well, it kind of looks like Pakistan are going to keep kind of coming after it. That looks almost a different Pakistan in a sense of previously you may have seen them close up shop a little bit and limp to 50-60.
Wareham to complete the over with a Yorker, which Alia defends away into the offside for no run. So 10 overs gone, halfway stage. Pakistan limp their way to 40 for 5. Continue your point, Kirsty, and then Nikki Chowdhury will come back in.
I just think historically Pakistan at this stage would have knocked it around, and maybe for the best for a little while, but just that intent we just saw there of Hiram Javed's first ball, tries to slash it through the offside, could have quite easily gone straight into the hands of Phoebe Litchfield. 40 for 6 would have not done them any more favours.
No, definitely. I think it's really important about finding that balance between intent but still playing smart cricket, because with the likes of someone like Nida Dar, who top scored for Pakistan in their match against India a few days ago, I think it's safe to say she was definitely someone you'd have hope on to take Pakistan to a semi-decent total, but to get out in the way she has, I know it was it's casual stumping for Alyssa Healy, but she's played a lot of spin, has Nida Dar. There's certain things and certain techniques you would go about playing that shot. You mentioned earlier that she came down the wicket and she stayed she made too much space from the ball, and normally playing leg spin, if you're going to be aggressive and intense, still use your feet, but you want to cover the line of the spin as much as you can, otherwise you're going to get done like how she did there.
Yeah, it was pretty poor. There's not been a whole heap of smart batting thus far from Pakistan, and in an opposition like Australia, they're going to give you no margin for error.
Well, Kirst, we are at that point in the game where Nikesh has told me it's time to get our score predictions in. So, bearing in mind how we all failed rather tragically yesterday, what are you going with?
Well, before we make our score predictions, Nikesh, I think I should just give you a bit of insight into what happened yesterday as well. Because Nikki decided to make her prediction, and then immediately Bangladesh lost a wicket, and she changed her prediction.
Oh. No,
that's not on, is it?
Let's just get this
let's
clear.
Make that clear.
I had said 120 something, and we never actually put that something on paper. So
you change it to 112.
I just changed the order of the numbers, Kirst. Like, come on.
Kirsty, we're veterans of this. We were doing it throughout the 100, weren't we? And there are rules to this, Nikki. So
Nikki,
let's make it now
first.
before another delivery is bought. I've gone 68. Producer Luke's gone 65.
I'm going with 67.
I'm going to be more optimistic and go 73.
Well, currently Pakistan 40 for 5 at the drinks break, and well, let's see who comes through with these predictions.
I think regardless of who wins, in the commentary box, our predictions, unfortunately, if Pakistan make any of our above scores, they won't be winning this game, it's safe to say. They need to be making 3 figures, and at 40 for 5 at the halfway stage, that feels far too far away. It's going to be a real uphill battle.
Yeah, it's safe to say that Australia will be rather happy with what they've got to chase. Well, McGrath's got ball in hand. She's going to be coming in to replace Annabelle Sutherland. And she's into Iram now, who's forward and opens the face of the bat, plays this to backward point. It's a dot ball. At this point in the game, Kirst, if you were Pakistan, how would you be looking to play out the next 10 overs?
I think they've got to try and build some sort of partnership here in the next 5 or 6 overs. If they lose another wicket or 2, they could be in real, even more bother.
McGrath into Iram now again, opens the face of the bat off the front foot, plays it to backward point.
And so, yeah, I think they have to try and build a partnership, try and rotate the strike, pick up 4 and 5 and over, and then potentially you've got a few wickets in hand for those last 2 or 3 overs. You can take a little bit more risk, but this partnership becomes crucial now.
Hiram taps her bat, awaits as McGrath is in. This one just sliding down the leg side. She gets bat on it to turn it in to Gardner down in deep mid-wicket. Will take the single, 41 for 5.
It's a good start from McGrath. She just tailed a little bit straight there, and that allowed Iram to flick it off her pad and get off the mark.
Yeah, so you can just see, especially for the likes of players in the subcontinent, as like who like pace on the ball, as McGrath in now, and this one off the back foot turned into the leg side. They'll take on the single. Some smart running there in the middle. As soon as you take that pace off the ball and you're required to create that pace from your own strength, it just becomes that little bit harder. And I think in comparison to Australia, who are such a strong side and play really good orthodox cricket shots as well, as McGrath's in and Iram's forward, defends solidly. McGrath fields off the back end of her follow-through.
I think that just, again, emphasises the strength of a team, and if you're able to create those options off slow bowling and create that power yourself, that is, you know, it's what the best players in the world do, and they are able to do that. We spoke a little bit yesterday about Nat Sciver-Brunt.
McGrath in, and there's a short ball, and oh, it's been put down. Iram, well, she's hit that on the up, and McGrath, well, that was a standard catch, wasn't it? How could she put that down?
Yeah, I mean, you would not expect Talia McGrath to drop that. I think she thought it was coming so much faster than it was. And I will say, as a bowler, cotton bowls are so difficult. People underestimate them all the time. It's so difficult to be able to, I guess, recognise that reaction speed of how fast the ball has come off the bat, and I think she just completely misjudged that and got herself into all sorts of bother.
Didn't look very comfortable. And 11 overs gone. Pakistan 42 for 5. As in comes Wareham with some leg spin. Tosses this one up off the front foot. Alia drives down to deep cover. Gets the single. Brings Iram onto strike. 43 for 5. And they're just showing that drop on the replay as well. As you're right, McGrath just, I think she expected that to come at a quicker pace than what it actually did. As Wareham with ball in hand now. This one straight to delivery that Iram looks to turn into the leg side. It's fielded at mid-wicket.
I think as much as they can, and I know it's easier said than done, but Pakistan really need to try and keep the scoreboard ticking. And even if they do that in singles, that's okay, but they have to try and reduce the dot balls from here in.
Wareham in, and Iram down the track, uses her feet, lofts this over the inner ring. It doesn't have the legs to go all the way. It was a smart shot from the Pakistani batter. Score moves on to 45 for 5.
Yeah, I think it's a great option. Using your feet there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, especially when both straights are up in the circle. I think when one goes back, they'll have to be smart, have to be careful to make sure they're a little bit more accurate.
Wareham skips in, tosses this one up as Iram is forward and pushes this to shoot at mid-off. Now you really have to use your feet here. Use the depth of the crease, which Hayley Matthews did absolutely brilliantly yesterday in West Indies game against Bangladesh. This Wareham tosses this up. It's a full toss, which Iram politely defends back to shoot down at mid-off. She uses her feet, and I feel like she's probably going to think she's missed out on that one.
Yeah, it's the second time today we've seen a full toss been defended almost back down the wicket, and when runs are so difficult to come by, you just think those are the ones that they need to be putting away, need to be capitalising on.
Wareham into Iram again, who takes a foot away from the ball this time and slashes this through the offside. Megan Shute is on the chase. They should be able to come back for a couple. And they do. 47 for 5.
Phoebe Litchfield with a diving effort at extra cover, but she couldn't quite get a hand on it. And if anybody's going to, it would have been Phoebe Litchfield. She gives it a great effort.
End of the over, 12 overs gone, 47 for 5. Pakistan, Australia got grins on their faces, and rightly so. They've been putting in a stellar performance, top of the table, reigning champions, and the way they play their cricket, you can tell exactly why. Got some dhol drums at the ground as well. You can hear that on the mic, creating the atmosphere.
Yeah, good to see fans from all around the world have travelled to Dubai. There's been some good support when India, Pakistan and Bangladesh in particular have been playing.
Here's McGrath into Alia, who cautiously defends to mid-wicket off the front foot.
Some Australian fans in the crowd as well there. It's good to see that there's some young fans, especially little boys and little girls, if they've made their way over from Australia. It's a fair journey they've made to watch their team play.
Alyssa Healy behind the stumps, ready to go in action as McGrath in, and this one's a straighter delivery that's pulled away by Alia down to deep backward square. Will just be the single. Australia have the leg side covered out in the deep.
Now, McGrath hasn't bowled a whole heap this tournament, just purely due to the options that are at Alyssa Healy's disposal, but with Taylor Lamanick leaving the field early, she's been called upon.
McGrath into Iram, who's forward and defends, drops it into the offside. She sets off, she wants a single, but she's been turned down by her partner Alia at the non-striker's end.
Yeah, that might have been a little bit risky and potentially the right decision to send her back, but I do think those are the runs that Pakistan are quick between the wickets, and if they can communicate well, they're probably risks worth taking at this stage.
McGrath in now, wide of the crease. Iram's forward and defends again to mid-wicket, who comes round to do the fielding. Yeah. Seems to be getting busier out in the stands as well. The crowds just making their way in. It's a Friday night. You get to watch one of the best teams in the world.
If they're just making their way in, they're going to be disappointed.
Perhaps not getting their money's worth as in comes McGrath now, and Iram uses her feet, drops this into the offside, full face of the bat. Smart running here. There's a shy at the stumps at the striker's end, but I think she's just made it in on time, has Alia.
Great work again by Phoebe Litchfield. The second time she's had a direct hit tonight. This one's certainly closer than the last one. And Australia's celebrating. They think they've got their player. They think they've got their wicket. It's a short bit of work anyway. Just have to see if Alia slides her bat well enough.
We have an umpire review for run out at the striker's end.
Not how you would want to be getting out at this point.
But she is safe. She has slid her bat in well. And I do think, I thought it was close. It's a good run for Pakistan, and it's the kind of run they need to keep taking, as boundaries are extremely rare. It's been about 22, 23 balls since Pakistan last found the boundary.
Now, it's a fairly easy decision for third umpire Claire Cotton as well. 49 for 5 Pakistan. McGrath with ball in hand, ready to bowl the final ball of her second over. Alia taps her bat away as McGrath is in, wide of a crease once again, outside the off stump, cuts away, but it's fielded by Molyneux at point, who dives to her left. And one thing is for sure, Kirst, just Australia are just electric out in the field. Would you say one of the best fielding sides?
Yes.
Or the best fielding side in the women's game?
Certainly one of, yeah, 100%. I think they do everything so professionally, bat ball in the field. And that's just, again, their strength and depth, the strength of their unit, the professionalism. And they're used to playing in these pressure moments as well. You know, the Women's Big Bash League, and a lot of them play in the WPL and the 100 and things. So they're used to playing under pressure and delivering in these big moments. Unlike teams like Pakistan and these players, some of their first time on a stage like this.
Yes, definitely. 13 overs gone, and Pakistan 49 for 5 on the board. Wareham with ball in hand is in as she tosses this up. Iram uses her feet down the track, drives down to shoot at long off. Will take the single. The score moves on to 50 for 5. Talking about professionalism, obviously Australia, we've seen how they've grown and how strong they are as a squad. How long do you think it will take till we see other sides, slightly weaker sides, get to a level where they'd be able to be in a more of a competitive stage against sides like Australia? Wareham in now, and Alia down the track, lofts this over the top of Wareham's head. It's not going to go all the way down towards the boundary as Annabelle Sutherland comes round from long on to do the fielding. They will pick up a single. 51 for 5.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do think we're still quite a way away from that. You know, the money and the funding that England and Australia in particular have put into women's cricket is fantastic, and India are slowly catching up, but the rest, it is a way off.
Wareham in. This one's a short one. Iram off the back foot. Forehands this down the ground. And it'll be just a single as well. And we saw this shot a few times yesterday in the West Indies versus Bangladesh game. So the pitch is so slow that we've seen some tennis-like shots just because players haven't been able to get into those positions either. 52 for 5 now. The last 15 balls, Pakistan have just been able to score 10 runs on the board as Wareham is in. Tosses it up off the back foot. Alia cuts to backward point.
I think they'd have taken that, though. 10 runs for the loss of no wicket in the last 15 balls. It's probably been one of their more profitable phases. And yes, it's from the outside, it's not fantastic, but they are building a little partnership here, and it's what they need to continue to do.
Let's just keep ticking it over as Wareham is into Alia now, who uses her feet down the track, lofts this over down, and it's a brilliant effort from Megan Shue at mid-off, diving behind, reaches her right hand out behind her, and just out of reach. 53 for 5.
I wonder if she got a hand on it here. We'll see the replay now. She does. Talia McGrath, she dropped it off her own bowling earlier, and now off Georgia Wareham, but she did get fingertips to it.
Wareham into Iram now, who's forward, hits this uppishly down to McGrath at mid-off.
And this time she's been moved back, because I actually think that one would have gone straight into her pouch that time if she'd been still at mid-off, but she'd been put back for the final ball of Georgia Wareham's spell. She finishes with 2 for 16 off her 4 overs. 2 very important wickets, including the big one of Nida Dar as she spun it past her outside edge. It was a lovely bit of leg spin bowling.
14 overs gone, Pakistan 54 for 5. I must say the stature of McGrath and Megan Shue are very, very similar.
I've watched enough, unfortunately. I've played against Australia, and I've watched enough of them to know that Megan Shue loves patrolling that deep cover boundary. She's very quick out there, and to be fair, as are a lot of Australia's athletes. They could probably field anyone anywhere, and they'd do a good job.
Ash Gardner's coming back into the attack. She's only bowled 1 over so far. She'll be in for her second. Pakistan 54 for 5. 14 overs gone, 6 remaining. We'll have to see who's going to be right with their predictions amongst us here in the comms box. As for now, Gardner into Iram, uses her feet down the track, turns this to square leg. She wants a single, she's denied.
It's a good field, this, from Australia. It's the first time they've had a square leg in the ring, really against any of the spinners, but it's a good option as Iram has been rotating the strike reasonably well, but has been using that option at square leg to rotate the strike, and now it's been cut off. She'll have to find another option.
Gardner in, tosses this up as Iram is forward and defends. Gardner feels off her own bowling. 54 for 5. I must say the floodlights at the Dubai Stadium are different to what you normally get to see. They're kind of like installed within the stadium as opposed to having 4 or 5 separate poles. As Gardner in now, Iram uses her feet. That's beaten the bat.
Yeah, it has, and it's been dropped by Alyssa Healy. Not to be super critical, but not for the first time. Alyssa Healy's made. I'll actually give her the benefit of the doubt here, because it's come off Iram's outside edge, made for a very difficult chance. So I'll give Alyssa Healy the benefit of the doubt there, as I was going to criticise her because she can be quite sloppy behind the stumps, but that was a very difficult chance.
It was. Iram down on one knee, goes to reverse sweep as it's fielded at backward point. Again, quite a high-risk shot, and she hasn't been able to get it away, not even for a single at this point. Again, take it over, but keep it simple for Pakistan.
Yeah, they just can't get it away at all, which has led her to try to reverse sweep there and been unsuccessful. I think it's not a bad option, but they're just really struggling to get it away.
Gardner in off the back foot. Iram turns us down towards 45, which is vacant. We'll get the single. 55 for 5.
Yeah, better option there. There's no 45 in. They've got more of a deep backward 45 for that sweep that Pakistan have played really well. So she just used softer hands there, which allowed her to guide it backward of.
Gardner into Alio's forward, and again tucks this down towards 45. Will be another single as Perry does the hard yards over from deep square leg. That's the end of 15 overs completed. 56 for 5. Kirst, a few more words from you and your thoughts as we'll make space for Nikesh Ragani.
Yeah, Pakistan here, they've managed to survive a few overs now without losing a wicket, which is vitally important. Only 2 runs coming off that last over from Ash Gardner is just really struggling to rotate the strike, and as we know, boundaries so hard to come by. They've got a lot of work to do these last 5 overs.
They have indeed, but you're feeling quite smug about your 73 prediction now, Kirsty.
You're going to be on the money, that's why.
Luke's sweating. 65 he's gone for. Nikki 67. I've gone 68. And
you guys have
Kirsty,
got no faith.
73.
I have faith in Pakistan.
Well, let's see. I mean, look, they could lose some wickets in a clump.
We could all be wrong.
We're not hoping for that, of course. Look, the ideal scenario is they manage to sneak up to 100 and, you know, take it a little bit deeper from a neutral perspective. Molyneux in, and down the track comes Alia, but can only defend for no run. The intent still there from Pakistan. They have given a couple of chances to Australia in the last few overs, but difficult ones. Molyneux in again. Another shimmy down the track from Alia, this time a lovely straight drive down towards long on.
Yeah, lovely looking shot, that one. Yeah, Pakistan just struggling, like we say. They are showing a bit of intent, but just haven't quite had those cricket smarts of how to keep the scoreboard moving when Australia have got a number of fielders in the ring now.
Iram, who's unbeaten on 11 from 22, make that 23 deliveries as she defends another one from Molyneux.
Just the one boundary we've seen in Pakistan's whole innings, that straight drive over mid-on's head from Nida Dar off the bowling of Annabelle Sutherland.
Molyneux again with a very tight line, just straying slightly leg side, which allows Iram to flick it around the corner for a single. Wonder what the record is for least amount of boundaries in a completed 20-over innings.
Yeah,
if they make it that far.
Hypercost, if you're listening, normally the one to provide us with
yes,
these unbelievable stats.
Wasn't going to name check, but we might as well. We might as well. We get some lovely stats there. Another dot ball, an appeal for LBW, but Alia down on one knee was looking to sweep from well outside the off stump, so ball hitting it outside the line of that off stump. It'll just be another dot ball. .58 for 5 then. 1 ball left in this 16th over. Down the track comes Alia. Another defensive shot into the offside. No run. 16 gone then. 58 for 5. And an update from the Australian camp on Taylor Vlaminck. Taylor dislocated her right shoulder, say Cricket Australia, while attempting to stop a boundary. Her shoulder is now relocated. There you go, it's been popped back in, Kirsty. And the extent of the injury will be known following further assessment over the coming days. So she's not going to be one of those where it's just popped back in and out you go.
Yeah, I think we knew that. I think we knew that, given the seriousness of her injuries in the past and the pain she was in. So we can only hope that it's not bad news, but unfortunately it seems like it might be.
Sophie Molyneux then to bowl her final over here. She's into Iram, who launches one high into the air, into the leg side, out towards deep mid-wicket. Catch is taken, and Pakistan lose their 6th. It's been, well, a frustrating innings from Iram Javed. 12 from 25 balls, and eventually she makes her way back. And will that lead to now a clump of wickets for Pakistan? They've managed to build this partnership. It was worth 19 runs, which in the context of this innings was a pretty good effort from Pakistan, although not without chance. But they lose their 6th, and now you'd feel, with what's left to come, in danger of perhaps being bowled out inside the 20 overs.
Yeah, just succumbed to the pressure there, did Iram. 12 off 25, as you said. And Alia Riaz at the other end, 9 off 19. They just weren't able to keep rotating the strike against the seam of Talia McGrath, the spin of Wareham and Molyneux, and now Gardner. Just the task has become too much, and so Javed down the wicket, big slog into the leg side and into the safe hands of Georgia Wareham, running in from the deep mid-wicket boundary. It brings Tuba Hassan to the crease.
Does Tuba Hassan in at number 8, facing up here to Ash Gardner with her off spin. That one goes down the leg side. She did move across to the offside though, did Tuba Hassan, so it'll be interesting to see what the call is here. They do run through for 1. Will it just be given as a bye, or will it be signalled?
Yeah, I think a
wide?
bye is the right call, especially with the new laws that have come in, and if the batter moves across and the ball would have originally hit them, it is not a wide, and I think that's the case there.
Oh, it's been given a wide.
Harsh.
Full ball, down the track comes Alia, chips one into the leg side. That's a lovely shot, 4 runs, second boundary of Pakistan's innings. Wild celebrations in the stands.
And in the
and
comms
from
box.
Kirsty Gordon. It was a lovely shot though, just got to the pitch of the ball, flicked it away in front of that fielder there at deep mid-wicket with the turn. And Alia showing what she's capable of.
It was a great option.
She comes down the track again, and this time doesn't quite get to the pitch of the ball. Ball turns into her pad, thuds away into the offside, no run.
Just back to the wide call, it's once again showing us it's a batter's game, because I felt she was hard done by there, especially with Healy then missing it and it going for an extra one. So I'm on Ash Gardner's side there.
Spoken like a true bowler. Gardner in again, and Riaz, well, she's getting those steps in, coming down the track, flicks another one out towards deep mid-wicket, this time for just a single.
Picking up her intent here, Alia Riaz, which is good to see, and that one not quite there, so much better batting, smarter batting. It wasn't quite there, so she just lifted it safely into the leg side for a single.
This time Tuba down on one knee, sweeps past short fine leg, the ball's racing away towards the boundary. Is it going to be a third boundary for Pakistan? It's not. It'll be another couple of runs to the total.
Enjoying this from Pakistan though. They've lifted the intent, they're using smarter options. We spoke earlier about that balance of intent versus smart cricket, and really hadn't seen any smart cricket up until now. Great boundary and then some better options for strike rotation.
67 for 6 then. Luke's out the game. Nicky's done. In terms of predictions, I'm about to be done because I said 68. They've still got 4 wickets in hand. That's a shot that's placed by Tuba in front of point. She was looking for the single, sent back by Alia, who wants to keep strike for the start of the 18th over. So 17 gone, 67 for 6.
I think I could be out the game soon as well, which I'm hoping for, to be honest.
Don't you just win, because you're going to be closest regardless, aren't you? If it goes over 73.
I'm not a fan of that, though. You've got to be within a couple. Like, if they go on to get 85 and 90, I'm nowhere near, which I'd be delighted with, by the way, because it means Pakistan have had a great finish.
Yep.
And they've put the Aussies under a bit of pressure at the back end, if that does become the case. But for now, they've still got 3 overs to go. Anything could happen.
Absolutely. 3 overs left. Sophie Molyneux will come in to bowl the 18th over, her final one of the innings. Figures of 1 for 11 so far. And they've all been pretty tidy, the Australian bowlers, it's fair to say. Molyneux then, left arm spin coming over the wicket here to Alia, trying to bowl across the right-hander, get it out of her reach, but that one is too wide, and umpire with arms aloft signals so. So another run onto the Pakistan total. 68 for 6. Molyneux's in, and down the track comes Alia. That's a beautiful lofted shot over extra cover for 4 runs. In to out. Textbook stuff there from Alia Riaz. She's 18 from 23 all of a sudden after a slow start to her innings. I'll tell tell you one thing, she likes dancing down the track, and she's pretty good at it when she makes contact.
That is an absolutely class shot. That's the kind of shot you expect to see from a top-order batter. Just opened herself up, and any time you see the ball lofted over extra cover, it tends to be a good shot.
Molyneux coming round the wicket, hits Alia on the leg as she goes down to sweep. She will get a single behind square on the leg side. It was a polite appeal from Molyneux for LBW, nothing more than that.
I must say, I was surprised to see Molyneux come over the wicket to the right-hander. There's a bit of a plan there to push it across her and try and get her out stumped, but to me it takes out too many modes of dismissal. Stay around the wicket, keep bowled, LBW, and obviously stumped in the game as well, especially to Riaz.
Duba Hassan on strike, defends this one from Molyneux. It's a delivery that was angled into the body as she was looking to open herself up and open up the offside. Well bowled from Molyneux with all that experience. Just getting through the over quick. Next one is outside off stump. It's been knocked into the offside. They do get through for a quick single. Throw comes in at Duba's end, at the non-striker's end, misses.
Bit of telepathy there. I don't think they communicated at all. They just looked at each other and off they went. Little bit risky, but they've made it home, and has been a feature of Pakistan's innings.
Alia, well, yep, she comes down the track again. No surprise there. Chips it away down to long on. Another single.
Although we could say it's becoming predictable that she's using her feet coming down the wicket, her batting is smarter than others, because when she doesn't get there, she's able to play it safely for a single and only go after it if she knows she's got to the pitch of the ball.
Final ball of Molyneux's spell is full into Duba Hassan. It's straight to short mid-wicket, no run. So a couple of overs remaining in the innings. Pakistan on to 75 for 6. Alia Riaz so far holding the flame at the back end of this innings for the Pakistanis. 20 from 25. She's played some beautiful shots. She's calling for a drink. I think if there's one player in this Pakistan side that deserves a drink right now, some water, some energy drink, whatever she's going to have, it is Alia, because she has been out there for a while. She's entertained, and well, she's their only hope, really, of getting anywhere close to that 100 mark. They probably won't get 100 now, because they're 25 away with only 2 overs left, but if they can get into the 90s, psychologically that will just give Pakistan something.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Riaz has really shown the top order how to bat, to be honest, but specifically on this pitch, she's had a method. She's swept at times, and she's used her feet, as we've spoken about.
Ash Gardner into her final over. Full toss, which Alia drives down to long off. It will just be the one. Lots of spinners on show. Bet you're licking your lips at the prospect of, you know, bowling in conditions like this. You'd love to be out there.
Yeah, of course. It's spinner friendly, that's for sure.
Probably not quite as much as what Bangladesh would have been, incidentally. Oh, that's a play and a miss, and stumped is Duba Hassan. Another sharp bit of work there from Alyssa Healy. It's a delivery from round the wicket from Gardner, just short of a length, and it skidded through a bit quicker than Duba would have thought. But under the bat, she was all over the place and couldn't get back in her ground in time.
Yeah, it was a bit of a filthy swipe in the end, and easy work from Alyssa Healy, who does a good job behind the stumps there. But yeah, as you said, you know, we've commented on the low scores of this World Cup so far, but arguably they would have been even lower had the competition stayed in Bangladesh.
Absolutely. 7 down now for 76. Pakistan. I reckon, look, if they get somewhere in the 70s, I think we can give you that prediction. I'm not sure what the prize is.
I'm looking 70s
at producer Luke to see if there's a prize on offer, or if you get a free tea or coffee from the BBC canteen or something like that. I'm not quite sure if our budget stretches to that.
What's a prize?
It's all right. We'll take you out for a drink after this. If they get in the 70s, I promise you a drink on me.
All right.
Later
I'll look
on.
forward to that.
Of your choice. as Gardner is in, and new batter Arub just flicks away out towards deep mid-wicket. The call is for 2, but they are going to settle for just a single.
I am optimistic that Pakistan will make it out the 70s. They've still got 9 balls left. They're on 77. I think they could even make it out the 80s if I'm being full of optimism.
Gardner into Alia, who gets a leading edge, but falls safely away, just wide of mid-off. Pakistan run through for another single. Right, Hypercosta's been in touch regarding the boundary count of a completed T20I innings. We'll describe that in just a moment after we describe that wicket for Ash Gardner. Another one as Arub just flicks one straight into the hands of short mid-wicket. Simple as you like, catching practice really. Pakistan 78 for 8. We were optimistic a couple of moments ago, Kirsty, not so much after seeing that shot. No,
that's very soft, very easy catch for Beth Mooney there at mid-wicket. Pakistan just faltering away now as they're 8 down, and you feel like all hope's kind of left since that partnership between Tuba Hassan and Alia Riaz was broken.
Yep, so Nashra Sandhu, the new batter, comes in at number 10. And Australia will be looking to finish this one quickly. If Pakistan do bat the full 20 overs, though, we're talking about their boundaries. They've hit 3 so far, and the record is actually 0 by associate nations playing T20I cricket. According to Hypercourse, there have been a number of full 20-over women's T20I innings by associates that have featured no boundaries at all. Can't imagine they would have been much fun to watch those particular innings. As Gardner gets one to turn, it hits Nashra on the pads, and umpire takes a long time to think about it. Eventually the finger goes up. Nashra goes straight upstairs. And we'll have a little look at the replays before deciding on what happens next. Could be 78 for 9 here, Pakistan, if the decision goes with the umpire. What are you thinking?
The only thing saving her here is the potential of an inside edge. The way she reviewed it quickly could be the only thing, but as we watch the replay, I can't see there being an inside edge there.
Well,
and if there's not, that is crashing into the stumps.
Yeah, I mean, it did hit her above the knee roll, but she's not the tallest.
Next frame, clear gap.
Nashra Sandhu.
Yep. Thank you. Satisfied, no bat involved. Can we go to ball tracking, please?
I mean, here on the top of the leg, actually, it went past the flap of the front pad and hit her very high up, almost on her sort of pelvis, really.
Her high up is arguably not above the stumps.
And it was on the sort of back leg high up, wasn't it? So it was closer to the stumps at the point of impact.
Impact in line.
Lunging forward as well.
And wickets as umpire's call. So go back on field.
It was close. It was close. If it wasn't given out on field, then Nashra Sandhu would have survived had Australia reviewed. As it is, we will stick with the umpire's call. 78 for 9 Pakistan. 1 over left in the innings. If they do bat for 20 overs, we will get to this stat now from Hypercourse. The record at T20I World Cups for lowest amount of boundaries is 3 by Bangladesh against Sri Lanka in 2018, and also by Sri Lanka against Pakistan at Sharjah just the other day in this World Cup.
And I imagine, though we don't want to assume anything with 6 balls left, that Pakistan could join that today as they've only hit the 3 boundaries today.
Well, it is going to be Alia Riaz on strike. She's 22 from 27, and she's hitting the ball well.
She is. She's been the only shining light really in this Pakistani innings, and saved them from being, to be honest, really embarrassed, as they've got themselves to at least a semi-respectable score of 78.
Right, will be Annabelle Sutherland to bowl the final over of the innings. Healy standing up as she bowls into the pads of Alia Riaz, who flicks it away for 4. There goes the record, the unwanted record for Pakistan. 4th boundary for them of the innings. They're into the 80s, 82 for 9. So there goes your drink as well, Kirsty. Although I might be kind. And Pakistan looking for a bit of a grandstand finish. They need Alia to face all of these 5 remaining deliveries.
Yeah, good on Pakistan and Alia Riaz there. She's picked that up really well. Pierced the field, find her 3rd boundary of the game.
Sutherland in again. That's very full. She opens herself up, drives into the offside, but straight to the fielder there at cover, so no run. Does anybody know the identity of Hypercourse?
No.
Yeah, I don't think we're allowed to.
I don't think anybody does.
It's a bit like the Stig on Top Gear all those years ago, isn't it? You're just not allowed to know.
Not allowed to know. I think it's better that way as well, in a way.
I think so.
It's quite... I like the mystery of it.
Absolutely. Sutherland with a Yorker into Alia, who digs it out, but again, there's no run. I mean, it does add to the mystery, but Hypercourse is always listening.
Always listening and always available with the information. Like,
absolutely.
the bank of
it's
information,
fantastic, isn't it?
Unbelievable, really. Like, really, really incredible, actually.
It's not like there's call centres you ring and they say, your call is important to us, and they don't pick up for 2 hours. He's always there. He's always on hand. Playing a miss from Alia.
He or she, may we add.
He or she, sorry. We don't know, do we? We just don't know.
We don't know. For those of you wondering, Hypercost is a Twitter account, an X account, I should say. Yeah. Sorry, that has unbelievable knowledge on the women's cricket game. Always there to provide up-to-date stats and information.
Absolutely. Sutherland into Alia, who chips one up into the air. It should be taken. It is. So they are all out, Pakistan, inside the 20 overs, just 1 ball remaining in the innings, so they gave it a bit of a go towards the back end, but then lost a clump of wickets to finish on 82 all out. That is a really good effort, though, you've got to say, from Alia Riaz at the back end. 26 from 32 doesn't sound like a fantastic innings in T20 cricket, but when you consider Pakistan's struggles against the world champions Australia in this match, some of the shots she played as well, it has been a good effort from her to at least get them up and into the 80s. So Australia will need 83 to win. And Kirsty, we expect them to get there pretty easily, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the way Australia have been batting, you feel like it could be all done quite quickly. I think they'll come out and they'll attack the power play as they normally do. And just to make sure, I suppose, they still have India to play, and you never know what could happen when India arrive on their day. And because of that, I think they'll try and go out and make sure their net run rate stays very, very positive.
Kirsty Gordon of the Trent Rockets of England and Scotland. I'm going to ask you about that later on with that game coming up on Sunday. Thank you for now. OK, right, we're going to take a quick break now during the interval. So Australia need 83 to win. We will bring you the full chase here on 5 Sports Extra and around the world via the ICC stream as well. But during this break, we're going to bring you a chat with England's new man, Jaffer Chauhan. The 22-year-old Yorkshire leg spinner has been picked for the England white ball squad to tour the Caribbean. He's the first graduate of the South Asian Cricket Academy, also known as SACA, to get in the England squad, and has been talking to Luke Wolstenholme.
Well, Jaffer Chauhan, England cricketer, how does that sound?
Not something I was expecting to be hearing this soon, but no, I couldn't be happier. I mean, it's what I wanted to do my whole life. So yeah, no, I'm absolutely thrilled.
And how did you find out that you got the call up to the England white ball side?
It was, I guess, a bit random. I was at home, still in bed, and I got a call from Luke Wright. My dad just woke me up, and he was saying he was in a meeting at home, and I ran to the office in my boxers whilst he's on a meeting, and I just put it on speaker. And I don't think I really gave Luke much back. I was like, oh, OK. Yeah, I didn't really know what to say at that point, but no, obviously it was a really nice moment.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a special moment. And it's been a pretty meteoric rise for you, hasn't it, Jaffer? I mean, a couple of years ago, you weren't even at Yorkshire, and now you're in an England white ball squad.
Yeah, it has been a bit of a crazy rise, but for me, it's just staying as level-headed as I can. Just keep working hard, just making sure I'm ready for whatever opportunity comes, because you don't know how quick things are going to happen. So for me, it's just making sure I'm as ready and prepared as I can be if I get that opportunity out there.
And what do you think changed for you over the past couple of years to get this opportunity that you have now?
Well, I think, yeah, once I got my contract, I think a big thing for me is just a rise in confidence in my own game. Probably when I was younger, that was a slight weakness of mine, whereas now I'd say it's a strength, if anything. Especially the way I look at games, I just try and really enjoy my cricket and show everyone what I can do. So hopefully I can go and do that in the Caribbean as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And another player who's had a meteoric rise, it's fair to say, is Shoaib Bashir, who's out with the England Test side at the moment, playing in Pakistan.
Yeah.
You played with him a few years ago in minor county cricket, didn't you?
Yeah, we're going back to about 2021. We were both couldn't get into the Berkshire first team at that point. So we played some twos games together at the start of the season. But it's been nice for me to see that, you know, within 1 year he was playing Test cricket, and for me looking at people like him and Rehan, it's been really nice to kind of help me think, oh, you know what, that goal is achievable. And watching him, he's been absolutely amazing. So if I can try and replicate somewhat of what he's done would be great.
And going from relative obscurity to playing for England wasn't something that you could do sort of 5-10 years ago. There was a clear path, right? You'd have to go through a major county system and work your way up. But now the jump isn't as big as it used to be, right? And do you think that there's a sense that players feel like you could have a few good games and before you know it, you could be in a position like yourself, like Shoaib?
No, 100%. I think that's the really exciting thing about playing in England right now. It's just that sort of backing and the different way the system's run now. Whereas before it was a bit of clear, okay, you need to have a few good years of county cricket and then you'll get your opportunities. Now they're going a lot more off potential, and I mean, it's just really exciting. Like, so I had people mention to me over the last year or so, oh, you know, you never know what could happen if you have a few good seasons, but you know, you want to believe it, but you're like, oh, I don't really know. But now to actually get this opportunity is amazing. But it's really exciting for everyone to be like, to help them push forward and kind of have that motivation to work a lot harder, because that goal seems a lot more achievable than maybe it once was.
You're at Yorkshire now, but I know the South Asian Cricket Academy was hugely influential in your development. You're their first ever graduate for England. Can you just talk to me a bit about the South Asian Cricket Academy and what they did for you?
No, soccer was huge for me. At that point, I'd played a bit of minor county cricket, and I felt like I was ready to play some second-team cricket and get seen by some counties, but there was no way in. Like, you can message coaches, but it's only going to get you so far. Like, they get so many messages, so it wasn't going to really get you anywhere. And then Saka gave me that opportunity to actually play against second teams, really test where my game's at, and give me that opportunity to play against pro players and be seen. So it was huge like that, and Tom Brown gave me a hell of a lot of support then, and even still now I have really good contact with him. So I mean, it's clear how good they've been with the amount of players that have come through. So no, they were great for me at that stage.
Yeah, they've got 10 people in on professional contracts. This is British Asians who, you know, may not have got a pro contract and may have been forgotten by the system potentially. They're getting that second opportunity. This has never been around before.
Yeah, I think for me, I might not have been here if it wasn't for that. So no, I'm really grateful, and a lot of lads are, because it gives them that sort of opportunity to really achieve what they've wanted to do their whole lives. And I know for a lot of guys who maybe have lost hope, it's given that little bit of hope that, oh, maybe I can still do it. So it's really nice for a lot of people around the country, and it's got massive now. And it's a huge talent pool, and there's so many when they're young British Asian players, and for some reason they're not making it. So it's a great opportunity for these guys to give it another go and try and achieve their goals.
And as I mentioned, you're at Yorkshire now, and I know a hugely influential figure on you is Adil Rashid, right?
Yeah.
And talk to me about how much he's helped you.
Yeah, I think growing up, watching England play, he was always huge for me. One, being a leg spinner, but then also being British Pakistani as well. So there was always that thing. And then coming here was, yeah, I can't say I wasn't a fanboy when I first came, but him and his brother Amar have properly looked after me, and I see him as like big brothers now. So since when I first came, I mean, Adil's obviously very busy travelling around, but any opportunity he gets, I'll net with him, or he'll just give me a call and just give me a bit of support. So he's been huge for me. So yeah, I mean, that's the best thing about being at Yorkshire. He's got access to people like him. I mean, it doesn't really get much better than that. So yeah, I'm just going to try my best to learn as much as I can off him and try and replicate what he's done in his career.
It's crazy to go from idolising someone to potentially playing alongside them. I mean, that must be pretty special if that happens in the Caribbean.
No, 100%. I mean, from when I first signed, I was like, oh, it'd be a dream to actually just play a game with him, you know, maybe have him at like mid-off to chat to between balls, and just watch him bowl at the other end would be so cool. And yeah, I never thought that maybe we could be doing it together for England, so that would be a really, really special moment if I can do that with him.
And what's the reaction been like generally to you getting this call up to an England squad? I mean, you must have been flooded with messages. I mean, it must have been potentially pretty overwhelming, I guess.
No, it has been. I think same for my parents as well. It's just been really nice. The amount of support and love that I've got from people I've even not heard for a while, or people I was close with when I was a lot younger. So it's been really nice. I'm still enjoying that moment. You only get to live this moment once, so I'm just trying to enjoy it as much as I can, but it's been lovely.
Absolutely. And who are your other inspirations as cricketers? You've mentioned Adil Rashid there. Is there anyone else who inspired you to especially bowl leg spin as well? Because that's not a hugely popular art in England. Yeah, well, for me, starting to bowl leg spin was... I went to my first game was at Lord's, and Middlesex played against Rajasthan Royals there. And I was lucky enough to watch Shane Warne bowl. And literally just watching 4 overs was enough for me to go, yeah, I'll bowl leg spin. And my dad was like, yeah, you're not going to have the height or genetics to be a fast bowler. And he was a fast bowler, so he's like, just bowl spin, make your life a bit easier. So that was a big reason for wanting to bowl leg spin. And then I love Shahid Afridi growing up. So his style of bowling, being a bit quicker through the air, the longer run up, a high arm action, that was definitely influenced by him. And I wanted to be that bit more modern sort of style leg spinner rather than what was normally seen in a country like England and Australia, is that more classical Shane Warne sort of style. So he was a big influence on me with the way I bowl, and yeah, occasionally my celebrations as well. Well, hopefully we'll see a few of those potentially in the Caribbean. But is that what people should expect from you, that similar mould of leg spin as the two people you mentioned? Yeah, I think I try and pick little bits off a lot of different spinners. So I'm trying to just... I don't want to mould myself into someone I've idolised, but I just want to be me and show everyone what I can do. And I've picked little bits and kind of making it my own. So even though I've worked a hell of a lot with Rash and learnt so much of him, I'm still quite a different style bowler to him. And that's the nice thing about bowling leg spin. I think I'm relatively unique as a person, and I think that comes out when I bowl leg spin. It's a very unique skill, and my style of doing it is a bit unique. So I think that's the exciting thing for people to watch, and I can't wait to show people that. Absolutely. And it is amazing how many young British Asian spinners there are coming through at the moment. You've got yourself, we've mentioned Shoaib Bashir, we've got Rehan Ahmed, we've got his brother as well. Yeah. That's an incredible cohort coming through. Yeah, no, it is. Sometimes you forget about how many there are, and also how young everyone is. It makes me feel old. But no, it's a really, really exciting time, and someone like Farhan as well has done 16 years unbelievably old. Well. Yeah. It's like, oh God, like that's like 6 years younger than me. But no, they've done amazingly well. But it's really nice for me. When I was young, I looked up to Ravi Papara when I was much younger, and then someone like Adil.
That was Luke Wolstenholme talking to 22-year-old Yorkshire leg spinner Jaffer Chauhan, who's been picked for England's white ball squad to tour the Caribbean. That starts at the end of the month. As we have it, Australia have started their chase out in Dubai. They've been set a target of 83 by Pakistan. Just one off the first over now, as Beth Mooney gets herself off the mark against Sadia.
Yeah, Beth Mooney taking a few balls to get off the mark there, but she's nudged that one into the leg side and made it down to the other end.
Sadia Iqbal with ball in hand. Going to be bowling her first ball against Alyssa Healy. Australia's captain is currently taking her guard. Two fielders out in the deep, deep mid-wicket and long on.
Sadia Iqbal been a real joy to watch this World Cup so far, real leading light for Pakistan.
Here's Iqbal in to Healy, who tucks this down fine by 45. There's no one there. Will it run all the way down to the boundary? Nashra on the chase, and she does a good job. They will come back for a couple of runs. 3 for no loss.
Just straying slightly in her line there. As usual, just as I bigged her up and said that she's been having a good competition.
Always happens, doesn't it? As in comes Iqbal now. Tosses this one up. Healy forward, pushes this to mid-off. It's a dot ball.
So, at the end of the first over, I can tell everyone that we've done some more predictions, haven't we, for this batting innings, and how many overs it's going to take Australia to chase this down. We've all gone for an Australia win. Nitesh has gone with 7.3. He's the quickest amount of time. Producer Luke, 7.4 overs. Nikki, you've gone for 8.3.
I've gone 8, yeah.
8.3.
I'm sticking by that as well, Kirsty.
Good to know. And I've been the most optimistic for Pakistan, and I've said 11 overs. So first over going for 3. Well done, Sadia Iqbal. She's helped me out. She's had a good start. Just 3 runs coming from it.
Nida Dar with ball in hand to bowl the second over. But we'll see who wins this prediction. And maybe Nikesh is going to keep to his promise as well.
God, I might have 2 drinks on him tonight.
Never miss out on the opportunity. Dar to Mooney. She's got her black headband in place. Comes round the wicket to the left hand who's forward. She pops this up off the front foot. It lands safe.
I thought there was going to be a cotton balled opportunity just for a split second there.
Did expect Dar to perhaps make a bit more of an effort just to
I think she knew. I think she knew it had gone nowhere. It's not even made it halfway down the pitch.
Dar in now. This one slide down the leg side. Mooney down on one knee, gets some bat on it, runs it down to deep square leg. We'll take the single. Healy on strike, 4 for no loss.
I think she was just so surprised there by the lack of pace. It just seemed to take an age to get to her, and
she watched it well though. She took one hand off the bat and just managed to guide the ball round the corner. Just adjusting the field now for the right-handed Healy. As should be all right to go. Seems to have finished directing her players. I've spoken too soon.
Another move, and I think this is a good one actually. She's bringing a player over from the offside into mid-wicket in the ring. If they're going to have any chance at all, Pakistan, they're going to need to restrict runs, and bringing a mid-wicket into the ring will certainly give them a better opportunity at doing that.
Here we go. Time for some action. Dar into Healy. This one slides down. A straighter delivery that Healy looks to turn round the corners of 45. It's fielded by Aru. Doesn't get it away. It was a loose delivery from Dar. Again, left-hand, right-handed combination to throw off the bowlers. Australia did it. Pakistan did it as well. Or should I say Australia currently doing it. There's Dar into Healy, who uses her feet down the track and hits this over mid-wicket's head. It's not going to go all the way down to the boundary, as there's protection out in the deep, but they will come back for 2. 6 for no loss.
Great running there from Beth Mooney and Australia. Already just the difference there, because the ball's plugged in the outfield, but Beth Mooney sets off straight away, and you know she's coming back for 2.
Dar to Healy. Taps her bat this time. Again, similar to the last one, hits this over mid-wicket's head and down towards deep mid-wicket. We'll take 2 again. Quite a simple option there for Healy. 8 for no loss.
Yeah, and you know that's how she's going to come out and play. She's going to come out and try and take the power play on, and Nida Dar doing well to hold her length and force Healy to drag it into the leg side, where she has the protection of the long on and the deep mid-wicket.
Darin tosses this one up slightly slower as it's driven off the front foot by Healy. It beats the inner ring and it's going to go all the way down towards the boundary. That is a beautiful drive. That's very textbook-esque. And Australia move on to 12 for no loss.
Yeah, just as Nida Dar had managed to contain well that over, she goes slightly too full, and classic Alyssa Healy, so strong through the offside, one of the best in the world through the offside. Just gives herself enough space there, it opens the blade. Beats extra covers right hand.
9 off the over there from Dar at the end of 2 overs. Australia 12 for no loss. They're going to be continuing with Sadia Iqbal as well. And if you've just tuned in, Pakistan kind of failed to get going in their innings. They were bowled out for 82. And Alia Riaz top scoring with 26 for her side.
She played well as well. She was the only real player to give herself a chance to get in and then accelerated when she had the opportunity. I was impressed by her, but fortunately none of her teammates could help her out.
Here comes Sadia Tamouni, uses her feet down the ground, drives this through the offside. This has beaten the inner field once again, and it's going to be another boundary for Australia. They move on to 16 for no loss.
Yeah, carbon copy there, but this time off the bat of Beth Mooney, uses her feet well and beats extra cover, and that is that's Beth Mooney. I'm sure we'll see her play some similar shots, probably over extra cover in this innings. That's what she's known for, giving herself space, getting it through extra cover.
Bit of a mirror image, wasn't it? From the shot we saw from Healy in the last over, as Sadia's in now, and Mooney again uses her feet, drives this to cover, fielded. It's a dot ball, 16 for no loss. And of course, Ash Gardner bowled well. She picked up a 4-for as well, 4 overs, 4 for 21. Of course, 3 of those wickets coming in her final over of her spell. As Sadia Iqbal is in, and this time Mooney uses her feet and slashes this over the ring on the offside, and then again this races down towards the boundary, and Australia cruise through to 20 for no loss.
Well, it's almost like I just said that might happen. Now that is Beth Mooney all over, and if Pakistan had done their homework, they would know that that's exactly where she's going to target. I know Sadia Iqbal's left arm spinner, and she's turning the ball into Beth Mooney, but it just doesn't make a difference to Mooney. That is her strongest area of the ground over extra cover, and even when later on in the innings, when they can have more than 2 out, that is where she will target.
Sadia into Mooney, this time off the back foot, gently drops us into the offside. She looks to set off for a single, but right decision is not to take it. 20 for no loss.
Much better length from Iqbal there. If you're going to bowl with this field, you have to be able to hold your length. Lack of spin on show in the power play here, and if you just stray too full, it's just easy pickings for somebody like Beth Mooney to pick her gap through the offside.
Iqbal in, left arm over, and Mooney uses her feet, advances down the track, hits this above mid-off's head, and again it's another boundary for Australia. The ball races away. The score moves on to 24. And Australia, well, I think we might all be wrong with our predictions if they continue at this rate.
Nah, I'm confident.
Confident. 11 overs, Kirst.
This is it's poor batting, it's poor bowling, sorry, really. The left arm spinner's on. Really, she wants to be bowling to Alyssa Healy, and she's just bowled 3 4 balls. To be honest, 4 4 balls, but managed to get away with 1 to Beth Mooney, and you can't afford to do that to somebody of her class.
No, definitely not. As Iqbal into Mooney once again. This time flatter delivery off the back foot. Mooney cut straight to Tuber at point. And that will conclude the end of the over. 3 overs gone. Australia 24 for no loss, and there was 12 runs off that over from Sadia Iqbal.
So how many runs are they going at right now? Are they going at 8 and over? My prediction. 11 overs could be all right, couldn't I?
Nikesh is going to have to owe you another drink. It's going to be an expensive night for him.
No, we'll see. We'll see if they keep going like this, like you say, and Healy and Mooney get in. It could become quite embarrassing for Pakistan. So they're going to have to work really hard out there in the humidity. They're going to have to take any chances that come their way. That's one thing they certainly can't afford, is drop catches, misfields.
Now we're going to have a change of bowling as well. Sadaf Shamas is going to come into the attack now. And she's going to be bowling to Alyssa Healy, the right-hander, replacing Nida Dar, who went for 9 off her first over. Sadaf into Healy now, shuffles across. There's a short ball. She pulls this away down towards the boundary at deep square leg. There's no one out in the deep. And that's another boundary for Australia. They move on to 28 for no loss. And both Mooney and Healy having a little bit of a giggle out there in the middle as well. Clearly enjoying this.
Yeah, I'm really questioning what field she's got here. Either a really, really poor field or just completely wrong execution. It's short, which is not where she wants to bowl with the pace she's got, but regardless, you'd think you would have a deep backward square.
Exactly, you would have thought, and you'd expect maybe them to put one out now, just by the looks of it. Long on is coming into the ring and square legs being pushed out. 2 out in the deep on the leg side. As in comes Sadaf now, and off the back foot, Healy pushes this into the offside. It's fielded at point as she opens the face of the bat.
Yeah, I think this is a better field. If you can hold your length, you're then asking Healy to play a slightly trickier shot over the top against the seamer on a surface that has offered a little bit. I think deep square out just allows her to bowl more of a natural length.
Sadaf in now to Healy, who pulls this through the mid-wicket region. Will it beat the fielder out on the boundary? It does. A great effort out, but in the deep, but it wasn't quite enough. And it's another boundary here for Australia. Takes them into the 30s, 32 for no loss.
Just short again, and a player of Healy's quality and ability, she's just able to pick her gap. Square, deep square and deep mid-wicket out on the boundary, but it's so powerful in front of mid-wicket, and there's no mid-wicket in the ring, that just races away. And boundaries looked so difficult for Pakistan, but Australia already making it look simple.
Sadaf into Healy again, pulls, and this time goes aerial. It's going to be a 1 bounce to Nida Dar, who's out at deep square leg. They'll take the single, 33 for no loss. Mooney's on 14, Healy on 19. Smiles all round. Out in the middle, in the Australian dugout as well. Australia currently top of the table in this Group A clash. Looking to stick in that position as well. And Sadaf is going to come round the wicket to Beth Mooney, currently just finalising her field. It's a warm day in Dubai. Temperatures of 35 degrees. Let's be honest, Australia has not made it look like that's bothered them at all. As in runs Sadaf round the wicket now. Mooney on one knee, looks to sweep as this one's down the leg side. It's been signalled a wide, and a wide in this point of the game is definitely not what you want to be bowling.
No, it's not. And this is, you know, I'm just looking, so I'm hoping I've got my fact right, but Sadaf Shamas' first bowl in this competition, and it's in the power play against Australia. I mean, talk about chucking her in at the deep end.
Sadaf into Mooney now, who's forward and gently drives this towards mid-on. She looks to set off, but there's not really a run there. 34 for no loss. Crowd enjoying themselves. It's entertaining, especially if you are an Australian cricket fan. As in runs Sadaf to Mooney, who's forward, tucks this round into the leg side. We'll take a single to keep strike at the end of 4 overs. Australia are 35 for no loss. They need 48, and they've got plenty of balls to do it in. 96 balls.
Yeah, just back to my point there. It just seems a strange decision to bowl kind of a part-time bowler in the third over of a crunch game. Surely at this stage of the game, even though your backs are against the wall, you go to your experienced bowlers, you go to your Nida Dar, you go to your Manara Sohail, you go to players that have taken wickets. Nashara Sundra has an economy of 4.5 this World Cup so far. She's bowled really well. It just seemed a strange choice, and obviously put her under pressure straight away with that early boundary off the bat of Alyssa Healy.
Definitely is Sadia Iqbal in to bowl her third over to Beth Mooney. You're currently just taking a wander towards the square leg umpire as Pakistan decide to just finalise their field. Australian need 83 runs to win, and Mooney down on one knee looks to dink this one through and doesn't get bat on it. It's into the gloves of Muneeb.
Slightly straighter line there from Iqbal from what she bowled in the previous over, which cost her 12 runs. It is a wide though.
Sadia into Mooney this time, uses her feet down the ground, hits this up, and she's caught at mid-on by Alia. Doesn't quite get to the pitch of the ball, does Beth Mooney, and she's mistimed it, and she will have to depart. Pakistan pick up their first wicket. Australia 36 for 1.
Yeah, Beth Mooney just trying to continue where she left off in the last over against Sadia Iqbal. She was so strong through the offside that I think they've put somebody out through the offside, and it has forced her to change her plan. Tries to take on mid-on, but doesn't quite get the elevation. Well bowled Sadia Iqbal, another wicket for her. 5 wickets this competition now. And safe hands Valia Riaz, who's having a great game.
Yes, definitely having a good game, but that wicket's probably not going to dampen Australia's hopes in this game too much. 36 for 1 as Elise Perry makes her way out into the middle. Experienced cricketer. Number 8 printed on her back. She takes her guard. She's going to be facing up against Sadia Iqbal, who gets Pakistan's first breakthrough in this clash in Dubai. Australia 36 for 1. As Perry takes her guard and is ready to go. Iqbal round the wicket. This one's cut away to point by Perry. Doesn't get it away.
Real loose ball there from Sadia Iqbal. She's got lucky there with the offside up. Probably about 5th or 6th stump there, and Perry unable to capitalise.
Yeah, she might be trying to compensate with this delivery as she's in once again. Round the wicket. Perry forward. Closes the face of the bat, plays it to mid-wicket.
It's a good matchup this for Pakistan, to be fair. Perry left arm spin. So Iqbal will be hoping to continue that line. That was a much better delivery, closing in on middle stump.
Australia need 47 from 93 as in comes Iqbal now. Uses her feet as Perry advances down the track. This time doesn't quite time it efficiently, and it's driven straight back down to Iqbal, who fields off her own bowling. Perry awaits as Iqbal skips in now, and this is slightly wider. It spins back as off the back foot. Perry defends.
Bit of an arm ball there from Iqbal. Lovely change up, just slid that one back into Perry. You can see the way she went back, looked to cut it, but it just slid on into her. So really good bowling here. Can she get out or over?
Iqbal in now. Perry down the ground, goes aerial once again. It's going to drop short of long on, but she will get herself off the mark, and Australia move on to 37 for 1 at the end of 5 overs. Kirsty, a few more words from you as I'll make way for Nikesh Ragani to talk us through the next 5 overs.
Yeah, excellent over there from Sadia Iqbal after a poor second over. She's come back. I think it's good captaincy as well from Muniba Ali to bring back on their best bowler in the competition, and she's got the breakthrough, got Mooney out, and now she's closed out her over well as well. So let's see if Pakistan can just wrestle a little bit of momentum back into their favour.
Yeah, every little will help their confidence going forward in this competition. Still got New Zealand to play, of course, with Pakistan in their final group game. Australia at the moment looking to make it a clean sweep of 14 played and 14 wins against Pakistan across T20 internationals. And 4 out of 4 it will be in T20 World Cups if they get over the line. That is a very strange bowling action as Perry defends one. It's Omema who's got a cap on while she's bowling some, what I think is off spin. Arms and legs all over the place. And that's a long hop, which has been put away for 4 in front of mid-wicket. It was short, it was slow, it didn't turn, and Perry has just helped herself. Try and describe that bowling action to us.
Well, sometimes these rogue bowling actions seem to be the most effective. We've seen a little bit of Brooke Halliday of late bowling for New Zealand. Whether she's off the wrong foot or hops at a funny time, we're not sure. And this is not dissimilar with legs and arms kind of everywhere. But after Perry's had one sighter, she dispatched the next ball for 4.
Maima's in again, and it's another short delivery. This time it's pulled to the fielder on the deep mid-wicket boundary, so it will just be a single.
I think, you know, the shows they're missing Fatima Sana, of course. You know, she'd normally be bowling at these phases of the game, and such an experienced campaigner that potentially they're having to kind of rely on different options in the power play, and that's hard enough at the best of times, never mind against the best outfit in the world.
Full ball from Maima to Healy, who sweeps, and oh, there's a misfield on the deep mid-wicket boundary. It will allow Australia back through for a couple of runs. Very, very sloppy out there.
Yeah, that was almost trickling to her, and you can forgive misfields when the ball is racing past you, but they're just a little bit careless, and they really can't afford that.
Arub, the fielder, out there as Maima gets one to turn slightly into Heatley, who just punches it to long on. Another single is taken. 38 needed from 85 balls.
Some predictions looking a little bit far-fetched at the minute.
Aren't they? Yeah. Maima to complete the over into Perry, who shimmies down the track, drives down to long on for another single. So 6 overs gone, the power play is over, and Australia make their way to 46 for 1 in their pursuit of 83. So I went for, what, 7.3, was it?
Yeah.
It's looking a bit dodgy at the moment, isn't it? Another over and a half to get 37 runs. Well, mathematically possible.
Mathematically possible indeed, and to be fair, a few overs ago it was looking likely, but the last 2 overs, to be fair, Pakistan have pulled it back a little bit. And interesting there what we saw on the screen there, I don't know if you saw that there, but just looked like the Pakistan backroom staff, analyst, coach, they'd had a number out in front of the laptop, and whether that's a sign, an indication to the captain Muniba Ali to say this is the bowler we want you to use now, whether it's prescriptive or a bit of advice.
Muniba Ali, obviously stand-in captain today. No Fatima Sana available for Pakistan. It is going to be Nashra Sandhu into the attack. Left arm spin round the wicket, through the umpire, and Perry just punches her away to long on for another single. Another bowler with a cap on.
Yeah, they love it in the subcontinent, don't they? There's a few of them, a few West Indians as well, bowl with a cap on.
Feels a bit part-time to me, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that's a big English thing, that we hate it. But
I love how you describe yourself as English there.
I'm really sad you picked up on that. I didn't mean to.
Another full delivery this time, and Healy flicks it to short mid-wicket. It won't be a run. It's fielded there inside the ring. We're going to ask you about that at the end of this over anyway. I was coming to that, the big match on Sunday.
Yeah. You can't look past England. You know, they have been playing well, and Scotland have struggled.
Nashra floats one up. That's been slog swept by Healy out towards deep mid-wicket. Bit of work to do for the sweeper. Allows Healy back through for a couple of runs. But
yeah, you hope that Scotland play well and give themselves a good showing in the tournament to end their tournament, because they've been playing some really good cricket, some promising cricket over the last 12 months, and unfortunately it's not really clicked for them this World Cup. Just as the opposition standards are obviously higher than what they're used to playing, but yeah, it'd be great if they could give England a good game, and it'd be a good spectacle for the neutral.
So there's the cricket preview out the way. That's not what I was going to talk to you about, Kirsty, but thank you for your insight there. Another floated delivery, which is defended away by Healy into the offside for no run. I'm not going to put you in an awkward position there, but I'm going to I mean, look, we've talked anthems before, haven't we, during the 100. There's nothing quite like Flower of Scotland, I believe were your words. Healy's down the track, drags this in the air down towards long on. There'll be another single. But you've obviously, you know, sang both national anthems, represented both nations, and a proud moment for you it must have been on both of those occasions.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there'd be many English people that would even say the English national anthem is better than a Flower of Scotland, to be fair. So surely that one's a no-brainer.
I guess so. I mean, we'll put it out there. If anyone disagrees, do get in touch. Short of a length from that final delivery of the over. Punched down the ground by Perry for another single. 51 for 1 Australia. 7 overs gone. That target, 83 runs. I mean, look, it's very unusual. Obviously, look, you've played for both nations. It's a little bit different. And cricket in England, obviously, is professional, and you get more opportunities at domestic level, and, you know, indeed that the whole system is set up differently down in England. So as a cricketer, you know, you've got to take what opportunities are available to you. There's not many Scottish people I've met, and I've got Scottish friends, and I've met a lot of Scottish people throughout my life. I've travelled there. There's not many that kind of like the English when it comes to sports and sports teams.
Yeah, I think to be fair, in cricket it is probably slightly different, like you said, and the professionalism, especially in the women's game. Don't get me wrong, when it comes to rugby, it's Scotland all the way, and I think that's definitely a big feature in Scotland. You know, we're very passionate about supporting Scotland when it comes to rugby in particular, and football to a degree, but yeah, most cricket fans you meet will respect England, and Scotland obviously don't really compete against England too much. Obviously the men doing really well in giving England scares of late in world events, which is great to see.
Arub into the attack then. Another one who likes to keep a cap on, the leg spinner. Defended away by Perry, offside for no run.
But yeah, I suppose when I made those decisions back in 2018, there was really not much cricket going on in Scotland, and playing for England and down England in England was my route to being a professional cricketer.
Short ball, which Perry hammers away out towards deep mid-wicket. That will just be the one.
And it's nice to think that hopefully I've paved the way for the likes of the Bryce sisters and Rachel Slater, Catherine Fraser, who have all now got professional contracts in England with their respective domestic teams, but are able to continue to play for Scotland. Unfortunately, it wasn't an option when I made the jump, but it's great that it now is, and those girls can develop, and it's a big reason why Scotland are at the World Cup, have qualified for the World Cup, because they have so many professional cricketers in their ranks.
Next delivery's floated outside the off stump. It's hit in the air by Healy down towards long off, and it's dropped. Nashira puts down an absolute sitter on the boundary. She apologises to her teammates, and it kind of sums up Pakistan's night in Dubai.
Yeah, we said at the start of this innings that they can't afford any drops, they can't afford mistakes, they'd be too costly, and unfortunately that's as simple as they come on the boundary. Healy gets a life.
Next delivery is driven by Perry down towards long off. It is fielded this time. They take the single. I'm going to ask you a quiz question, actually, about Scottish cricket.
Oh, no.
Scottish men's cricket, to be precise.
OK.
Nikki might know the answer to this. This is just for Kirsty and anyone listening out there. I'm going to drip through a couple of clues maybe in the next couple of overs as well. You might get it straight away after this delivery from Arub into Healy. It's punched off the back foot into the covers for a single. Any idea which Indian international played for Scotland?
Yes, I do know this, actually.
Remember what year it was?
I can keep it quiet if you want some
keep it
people
quiet. If people want to message in and just tag us on X at BBC TMS. It was 2003.
Oh, I was going to say 4.
Close.
So I was not right with my year, but...
As we see another single taken by Perry at the end of that 8th over. 56 for 1 then, the target 83 for Australia. Here's an interesting fact.
Yes.
Played 12 matches. He played 11, like, within you know, just playing domestically.
Yeah.
As Scotland did back then. And he played against Pakistan for Scotland.
Wow.
In a tour game.
There we go. I didn't know that.
Get in touch if you know.
I thought the question was going to be, do I know which Scottish male player has also represented both Scotland and England? Do we know the answer to that in the comms box?
I think I might do. As Perry comes down the track to the first ball of the next over from Nashra Sandhu. Takes a single to long off. 26 needed from 71. Nikki Chowdhury's dad has messaged in. He's got the answer correct. The year's slightly wrong, but we won't get too hung up on the year.
Close though, so similar to me. Well, there's the second question of today's quiz.
Sweep from Healy, slog sweep into the gap there at deep square leg and away for 4. One bounce, crashes into the advertising hoardings. And that was emphatic there from the Australian skipper. She moves on to 31 from just 19. Australian Annie just 22 more to win from 70 balls.
Great option from Healy with square leg in the ring as well. Really just toying with the field now. So yeah, 2 male Scottish cricketers to get, I think. Somebody will probably tell me there's a third.
Dot ball as Healy comes down the track, plays it back to the bowler in a follow through. 2 male Scottish players who played for Scotland and England.
I know 2, but I wouldn't be surprised if somebody...
one off the top of my head.
Somebody gives me a third. No Googling, you 2.
No, I'm just checking for messages on X as Healy comes down the track, inside out, over extra cover and away for 4. Lovely shot once more from the Australian captain, showing she can hit it to all areas of the ground, playing it with the turn on this occasion. And Sandhu goes and has a chat with her skipper Muniba Ali as to what they could possibly do now. Incidentally, Alyssa Healy has now gone past 1,000 runs in ICC Women's T20 World Cups. She stands number 2 in the all-time rank. Is the first Australian to get 1,000 runs across these competitions.
She overtakes Stefanie Taylor, who passed 1,000 yesterday, only just. She got to 1,001.
1,006 currently, Healy stands on. Partnership now between Healy and Perry with 29 from 27 deliveries. So slightly slower rate, but just picking up. Healy again down the track to Sandhu. This time it's been chipped over extra cover without as much force and won't quite get towards the boundary.
Such a class shot that almost, you know, she got nowhere near that, and a lot of players would have holed out there to either long off or extra cover in the ring, but she manages just to hold her shape long enough to get it over the top and back for 2. And with those last couple of balls, that knocks Nikki out of the race as well. All 3 of you now out. And only me left standing.
You're loving this, aren't you? That's been chipped in the air, but bounces just short of extra cover from Healy. So 9 overs gone. Australia 67 for 1. 16 more needed from 66 balls. Hype Course has been in touch again.
Oh no, that's not good news, because I think they'll know all the information.
Not regarding that. There's no spoilers there. But another bit of Scotland-England trivia. The first women's Test centurion, blank blank, without looking, represented both Scotland and England. I'll tell you if you don't know it. But do you? Any ideas?
Say again, the first
women's Test centurion ever.
I feel like I should know that
Scotland
because
and England.
I read an article the other day, but I'm not going to get it. So please put me out my misery.
Myrtle McLagan.
Oh, maybe I didn't read an article.
Well, it wasn't that article anyway.
Yeah, I don't recognise the name, so great stat. Thank you very much for that. Good bit of history for us.
Absolutely. Elise Perry on strike here to Arub, comes down the track, meets the ball on the half volley, drives past extra cover away towards the boundary into a slight gap.
Great running from the Aussies.
For 2, and Healy, well, you say great running, and she's obviously putting the afterburners there. Alyssa Healy running towards the danger end, And is that cramp? I mean, she looks in serious pain there, hopping around, trying to stretch, which suggests it might be a bit of cramp in the evening heat in Dubai.
We hope
Physio's
it's
going
cramp,
to come out now.
because if it's not cramp, it could be some sort of torn. She's not going down like it's cramp. You know, you want your legs stretched when you've got cramp, but that would be the best case scenario, because otherwise it could be torn calf, torn Achilles, and that is bad, bad news for Australia if that were to be the case. So let's hope it's muscle fatigue and cramp in this weather, having squatted for 20 overs behind the stumps.
Cramp is one of those things where if you're not going through it yourself, it's not really sort of seen to, you know, it's taken seriously obviously by physios, but your teammates are almost laughing sometimes at, you know, oh, look at her again, you know, hopping around like that, can't take the heat sort of thing. It can hurt. It's almost like one in men's cricket when you get hit in the midsection.
Yeah, everybody finds
if it doesn't happen to you, it's quite funny, and it's not taken that seriously. But it hurts. Trust me, it hurts. Right, no one's getting this this bit of trivia. I think, shall I put people out of their misery?
Yeah, I think it's
Male,
time, boss. We've got a little break to...
The male Scotland, and I don't know if you can call him an Indian and Scotland international, because he played for Scotland in the English domestic 50-over competition, which Scotland used to play in.
Yeah. Was that the 50-over competition or the 40?
40 or 45,
yeah,
it might have been. It might even be 45, to be fair. Right, Alyssa Healy is retired hurt, so we hope she's okay, and we hope it's nothing more than a bit of cramp. But it makes sense at this stage, doesn't it, just to say, you know what, we've won the game, just go and sort out whatever issue it is.
Yeah, absolutely, if it's precautionary, but the way Healy is walking off the pitch with her hands on her head, I feel she has a feeling that this is more serious than just ending this game. I think the way from her reaction that we're seeing, this suggests her tournament is done. That's all I can think there with that reaction. That's not the reaction of somebody who is, you know, 37 not out and done for the day. That is the reaction of the end of her tournament. She can't even get up the stairs here. Difficult scenes for Australia, who have already lost Taylor Vlaminck in this game, and potentially with another serious injury on their cards. You see Healy hopping up the stairs there.
Yeah, hopping up the stairs. Arub continues then to Elise Perry, who's still on strike. New batter Ash Gardner at the non-strikers end. Dot ball defended away by Perry offside.
And just on a bigger note as well, that could be game-changing for Australia's tournament. They've got India to play. They've got semi-finals and finals to come, potentially finals to come.
Short wide outside off, punched off the back foot by Perry into extra cover. They do sneak through for the quick single. That's poor fielding really by Pakistan inside the ring. 13 needed from 63. Yeah, look, India will be watching on, and whilst you never like to see a player get injured from an opposing side, it would do him a pretty big favour if she misses that game.
Yeah, and it's absolutely the type of thing that can really rattle a camp. Their captain, opening batter, wicket keeper. If all of a sudden they have to play the next game and potentially knock out eliminator games without her, it can really rock a camp.
Arub into the new batter Gardner. She strays onto the pads. Gardner flicks away behind square on the leg side. Will be at least one. In fact, they run through for two. It's getting sloppier and sloppier from Pakistan in the field, isn't it?
It is, and I just think that's the intent of Australia, and that's what makes them the best team in the world. You see straight away Ash Gardner sets off. She sprints that first one so hard. She knows there's a possibility that they can come back for two. That intent of running is just what sets them apart from many other teams.
Gardner defends her next delivery into the offside. No run. 11 needed from 61. And I'll put you all out your misery. It was Rahul Dravid, the Indian legend who played for Scotland in the domestic English limited overs competition and played for Scotland against Pakistan in a warm-up game, in a tour match. Final delivery of the over is again defended by Gardner, offside. So 10 overs gone. Australia make it to 72 for 1. They need just 11 from the next 60 balls. They'll probably get it on the stroke of 11 overs just to make you happy, Kirsty Gordon, and make sure you win our little sweepstake. To take you through to the conclusion of this match will be yourself, Kirsty, alongside Nikki Chowdhury.
And should we put everybody out their misery with the little Scotland-England trivia that we had? It was the two players that I knew
Can I guess one?
Yes, go for it.
Was it Dougie Brown?
Yes, correct. Any guesses from you, Nikki?
No.
No guesses.
No guesses.
Dougie Brown and Gavin Hamilton.
Ah, Gavin Hamilton.
But I've just Googled and found a third player, Mike Dennis. Played for England and was the former captain of the England cricket team. Captain Kent from 1972 to 1976.
Mike Dennis, yeah.
So thank you,
legend.
AI Google, for that little bit of information that I didn't know.
Every day's a school day. As the players are currently taking drinks out there in the middle, and just going back to that blow for Australia, Alyssa Healy looked in quite a bit of discomfort, and just as you mentioned, Kirsty, it will be a big blow for Australia should that rule her out for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, I think that's a really big blow if it is. I think, like I said, her cricket ability, opening batter and wicket-keeper, but also a big blow just for the team and their culture and the environment, the captain. So much stability in the Australia batting lineup, and
you could see just the pure worry amongst the teammates in the dugout as well as she made her way off the ground, hobbling off. She could barely get herself up the stairs back into the dressing room, and what seemed like cramp initially perhaps is something more serious than that, and hopefully we will have an update soon.
And Healy as well, she's such a light-hearted character. She always doesn't take things too seriously, always a bit of good fun around. So I think if she had cramp, you'd have been able to tell in her reaction, her emotion. She'd have been probably laughing about it, but no, there was serious worry, hands on head, panic. I don't have optimism for her, for Australia, about that one. And Taylor Vlaminix looked just as serious as well. So
yeah,
big upsets in the Australia camp, and that could be enough just to ruffle some feathers and give England and India a little bit of an eye-watching, a bit of a boost, potentially, that this Australia team could falter under a bit of pressure.
Yes, definitely. Australia come up against India, which will be a big game, and if Alyssa Healy is ruled out of that match, then, well, it might just do India a bit of good. Well, drinks have been taken. Australia require 11 from 60 balls, which I'm sure will be done pretty imminently here as Elise Perry takes her guard. And she's up against Tuba. It's a loose delivery, short outside the leg stump. She's off the back foot, pulls it away, and it is going to race down towards the boundary. And Australia now requires 7 runs to win. That was a extremely poor delivery there from Tuba.
Yeah, that's what you can't afford to do, not to players of Elise Perry's class and ability, and
they will pick you up on those.
They will. It's free pickings really for her, with no short fine in play and backward square not in the picture there.
Perry on 20, Australia on 76, having just lost the 1 wicket, and of course Alyssa Healy retired hurt after scoring 37. Tuba in with some leg spin, and this one pulled away by Perry. Doesn't quite time it right, and it's inside edge, fine behind the keeper. They'll come through for a single. 6 needed now.
Almost an identical delivery, actually. It really wasn't where she's meaning to bowl, but Perry didn't put this one away, and in fact nearly got herself into all sorts of bother if the wicketkeeper and captain Muniba Ali had managed to look up. She could have had a catch, but they managed to scamper through for the single.
They all seemed a little bit confused with that one, actually. So Australia just requires 6. I think, Kirsty, well, you've been bang on with the predictions today. As Tuba skips in now to Gardner, off the back foot, pulls up and away, down towards a deep square leg boundary. Has gone away for 4, and Australia just 2 runs short of victory here in Dubai.
I thought we were going to see back-to-back games finished with a 6, but it doesn't quite reach the boundary. Not sure what field she's got here. I mean, I know they're so close to victory that you've got to bring fielders in the ring, but if you're going to bowl that short, deep square is the one fielder that you probably want on the boundary. And it is once again easy pickings for Australia.
But in again, Gardner off the back foot, rocks back and pulls this down towards deep mid-wicket. It will be just the single. 82 for 1.
So a little dot ball here and then a single, and I am right perfect on the money. Come on, Perry, help me out here.
If only the listeners could see that huge grin on your face. As Tuva ball in hand. Just her field for what could be the final ball of this game. Into Perry off the back foot, cuts into the offside. Fielded at cover. It's a dot ball. You got your wish.
There we go. Now a little single, please, Perry.
Tuva at the top of her mark. Spins the ball in the air as she brings in a fielder from deep cover into the ring. And skips in now. Perry down the ground, up and over, mid-off, and that's going to be one bounce. And Australia, well, they have cruised through to victory here. Within 11 overs, they've got their total. Kirsty Gordon, you have achieved your prediction. Well done. And Australia have triumphed over Pakistan in Dubai with a 9-wicket victory.
Very comprehensive from Australia, very professional as they thrash Pakistan, really. They were good with the ball, they were good in the field, and they've been excellent with the bat. The more notable news to come out of this game, really, is the injuries, I should say, of Taylor Vlaminck and Elisa Healy. We've obviously heard an update on Taylor Vlaminck, and her right shoulder is dislocated and has been relocated, as we heard earlier. Yet to receive an update on Elisa Healy. We're not feeling too optimistic about both of those injuries, unfortunately, for Australia.
Absolutely, yeah. So, well, look, fingers crossed that it's not as bad as it sounds and certainly looks in the case of Elisa Healy. But nonetheless, look, Australia showing their strength in depth once again, winning by 9 wickets, absolutely thumping Pakistan today in Dubai. So 3 wins from 3 in this T20 World Cup for Australia. As for Pakistan, their second defeat. They lost their last match to India, now losing to Australia. Their net run rate will take a massive hit following today's heavy defeat by Australia. 9 overs remaining in the innings when Australia got to that total. So it was kind of there or thereabouts with India's net run rate at the start of this particular match, but it's taken a massive hit. They're 2 points behind India now with the same amount of games played. New Zealand, on the other hand, have played a game less. They've got 1 win on the board as well, 2 points. They can go level on points with India and New Zealand if they were to beat Pakistan in that final game, and then it would come down to perhaps net run rate depending on what happens in the India-Australia game, which is on Sunday. Obviously, if India beat Australia, then they will be pretty much through, you would think, although New Zealand have got the extra game in hand, so it might still come down to net run rate. So lots to play for in terms of who goes through to the semi-finals with Australia. Although if India do beat Australia and then New Zealand win a couple of their matches, there'll be 3 teams tied on that. But Australia's net run rate is so far superior at this stage, it's unlikely that they will get overhauled in terms of that. Who's your gut saying?
Oh, categorically Australia. Even if India pull off a shock, I think Australia is still comfortable. I think having watched Pakistan today and against Sri Lanka, that team that's turned up, I can't see them beating New Zealand. They've just not really arrived at the competition, which is a shame because they've got so much promise and quite an exciting young team. And if New Zealand do then beat Pakistan, then they're through as well. So that's where I'm at with it. I think New Zealand are in the driving seat to go through in second place, but you can't write off India because New Zealand have in the past faltered and been beaten by teams that they shouldn't be beaten by, and obviously they've got they've got Pakistan and Sri Lanka still to play. Look,
Sri Lanka are due a performance from their captain, aren't they? Chamari Athapattu hasn't really delivered in this World Cup so far. Not quite sure why that is. Obviously, it happens sometimes. Whether or not she's fully fit, we're not quite sure. But she's been playing. She's just not been churning out the runs and taking the wickets that we used to. So perhaps if she turns up in that final match, you just never know. But in terms of Australia, look, can you see beyond them, not just from qualifying for the semi-finals, but winning this competition? It doesn't really make a massive difference, I don't think, if Alyssa Healy is not there. In fact, we'll discuss that in just a moment.
And it goes to Ash Gardner.
Ash Gardner, the player of the match, just receiving her award. Let's hear from her talking to Alison Mitchell.
Win. How did you like conditions out there tonight?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was nice conditions, to be honest. I felt like there was a bit more bounce than what we've seen at Sharjah, so I feel like just with the way I bowl, that kind of helps me, and obviously with a little bit of spin, that's also handy. But I think it was a clinical performance with everyone from the bowling perspective. Everyone that got the ball did a really good job, and I was just lucky enough to take a few wickets at the end.
The win's come at a bit of a cost injury-wise to the team. Did it shake the team up at all, seeing Taylor Flemick in particular go down like that?
Yeah, it certainly did, and to see one of our really good mates and our teammates go down like that in the first over is never nice to see, and we know the hard route that Tay's come on to get back here, and then to see that happen to her again. We're all certainly feeling for her. She's in good spirits, but yeah, it's just super unfortunate for her to have worked so hard to get back here, and yeah, for that to happen, so we're all feeling for her at the moment.
Back to your own performance and, of course, getting those 3 wickets in the final over. Do you feel like you're in a good rhythm with the ball? And we saw you with the bat as well tonight.
Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of trending in the right direction, which is really nice. We know that we've got a really big challenge coming up next against India, who will certainly challenge us as bowlers, and I know they'll certainly challenge me personally. So we've had some really good battles with them over the years, and just coming up with clear plans for us to be able to execute. But I feel like I'm trending in the right direction, and then hopefully with bat in hand I can keep kind of going in that direction as well. But credit to our top order, who have done a fantastic job so far.
Are the middle order getting enough batting time leading into a potential semi-final?
I think so, and I think that's the best thing about this team is we've had so much experience. Obviously, we've seen Georgia Wareham come up to number 3, but we also see her as being an amazing finisher. So we're all really clear on our role, and I think that's the best thing. Our order is so fluid, and we might not necessarily get the time in the middle always, but I think that's just, like I said, a credit to our top order, who do a fantastic job in and out every single game. So it's sometimes you obviously wish you were out there, but I think, yeah, the class that we have at the top of our order, I certainly wouldn't change.
Congratulations on another big win.
Thank you.
So Ash Gardner, player of the match, for her exploits with the ball as Australia beat Pakistan by 9 wickets. Just talking there about Australia in the competition as a whole. Alyssa Healy didn't look good with the injury. As much as she's a leader of this side, in terms of her quality as a player, yes, she'll be missed because she's been brilliant over so many years, but they've got so much talent to bring into the side. That's the thing with Australia, isn't it? Can you see beyond them for this, this T20 World Cup, really, to win it?
Yeah, I think, like you say, they've got so much depth that I imagine if Alyssa Healy's unavailable, they'll potentially move Phoebe Litchfield up to the top of the order and bring in Grace Harris at kind of number 6, 7 there, and they've got so many options. They'll find a way to kind of fill that void with the bat. So my short answer to your question is probably not. They are absolutely still the favourites, even with the injuries that we've seen today. But if they get themselves into a semi-final and a final, anything can happen in these knockout games, as we've seen in previous World Cup editions. So yeah, I wouldn't write off other teams, wouldn't write off England. If they can show up when it matters, you just never know.
Absolutely. Nikki, you'd agree with those points?
100%. I think if I had to put my money somewhere, it would be with Australia. Just the depth they have, the adaptability they have, and just how strong they've been, not just in this tournament, but over the last 12 months, 16 months or so. That just the way they go about their cricket, I don't see them not holding that cup again.
Yep, and looking ahead to Sunday, obviously England-Scotland, but there's India-Australia, and that's a massive game, Nikki, isn't it? From an Indian perspective, they need to show up. They need to ideally beat Australia to have things at least a little bit in their own hands.
Yeah, exactly. India didn't have their ideal start to the tournament. They lost against New Zealand, which I don't think they thought that was actually going to happen in the first place. And as Kirsty touched on earlier, New Zealand, they show up on certain days when you really don't expect them to. So with this game on Sunday, Australia versus India, it's going to be one where I think everyone, those key players in the Indian side, need to step up and perform. Otherwise, if Australia keep going about their game the way they are, and let's hopefully have Healy fit and on the pitch as well, that it's going to be a tough battle.
Absolutely right. We'll have all the action for you coming up throughout the rest of the T20 World Cup. A couple of matches to bring you tomorrow as well. We'll be back with you for those. And England next in action on Sunday when they take on Scotland. Doubleheader again on Sunday. As we mentioned, Australia taking on India. But for us, from all the action here from match 14 today, that is all we've got time for. Australia winning by 9 wickets. They stay top of Group A. Very much big thank you to Kirsty Gordon, to Nikki Chowdhury, and from myself, Nikesh Shrigani. Goodbye and have a good evening.